Well, happy World Series Day, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I cannot believe it. World Series starts tonight up in Chavez Ravine. Michael King going against who? Michael Grove.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
It's close. Good guess.
Close.
Very close. Massively close. I can't believe it. I mean, you grind so hard for the entire season, and it all comes down to tonight against the Dodgers, the World Series. I cannot wait. I cannot be pacing around all day till 7 o'clock tonight. 7:05, I believe, is first pitch of the World Series. It's going to be unbelievable.
Seems like just
Late
yesterday we were all together for an April roundtable.
Right.
Now
and here we are. The World Series starts tonight. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the EP, executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good World Series morning to
Good World Series morning to you. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us. You going up for the World Series tonight, or are you going to watch it on TV?
No, I think I've got to watch it on TV because
It's
I don't
crazy.
want to miss anything.
Well, it's crazy because, you think when the World Series gets here, you're like, I'll make the drive up. I'll make the trek. But, yeah, I'm with you. I enjoy watching the World Series on TV, and that's what I'm going to do with my family tonight on a beautiful Friday night.
I'm a little lost in that. What's the point you're trying to make here?
That tonight is our World Series. That's what Dodgers
Ours or theirs?
Ours.
It's ours.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get that sense.
Where have you been? Remember Mookie Betts said, every team that plays us is their World Series. Then that that dip-ass reporter from L.A. was like, man, Cubs are playing this one like it's their World
Got
Series.
it now. Okay, got it.
It's their whole bit.
Sorry, I hate being the person who has
no.
to have things explained to them, but this morning, I guess it's Friday, and I need things explained to me completely.
I get it. It ruins the joke, but it's fine. I probably should have let you know that's where I was going.
Yeah, I had no idea.
But I like to be spontaneous.
I know you do.
I like to be spontaneous.
Yeah, I was a little lost there.
You were
for a
looking
second.
at me like I'd lost my mind. He's like, what?
I knew you were joking.
He's on mushrooms.
I just didn't know exactly the point you were trying to drive home.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
It's our
totally
World
get it.
Series. Can't wait, man. Cannot wait.
There has been, in the past, like 2021, there were certain series that we did treat early in the season against the Dodgers perhaps a little too importantly.
Agreed.
We changed our pitching rotation.
100%. Dave Roberts did the same thing, though.
He did.
He switched
did once.
his up.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. But this time,
last year?
Yeah, last year.
he did it last year.
Yeah,
Padres
he
did it 2 years ago.
He did.
And I don't think anyone's changing their pitching rotation for this series.
No, we're just going to keep rolling through and, listen, try to win a game, try to win a couple games would be fantastic. They're a good team. There's no doubt about it. They are a really good team. They're a very complete team. They have a deep team, certainly. And I think they're still the funny thing about them, as well as they're playing, I think they're still looking for the right combo of players and bullpen and everything else. But, it's going to be a challenge, but I love a challenge. I love watching games that have a little bit of extra juice. And that's what I'm looking forward to tonight on a Friday night. I was going to ask you guys, though, I had a moral dilemma. It was not an argument that I had in my home with my beautiful wife, who's in the chat this morning. It was not an argument per se, because I got shot down on it pretty quick. And so bear with me here. And you guys know me. You're going to have to take me at my word here, okay? That there's no other ulterior motives. So
You got shot down already on this.
it's already off the table, but I wanted to present it to you guys to get your thoughts.
Hannah, Woodsy's a pleasure giver, okay?
I am a giver. Give back.
Give it back.
So she's going to go again tomorrow night to go see Sting and Billy Joel, okay? With her friend Ginny. And she said, do you mind if I go? I go, no, not at all. I love spending time with just the boys. It's easier. It's much easier. We have a blast. So I said, go. I'll take them to do something cool.
Oh, no, I know where this is going.
You
now.
don't? You might.
I think I do.
So my 6-year-old, for the last 2 weeks, Bo, what do you want for dinner? Wings. What? I want wings. I really want wings. I want to try wings. I go, we're not getting wings. It's a Wednesday. Have a grilled cheese sandwich, and we'll get you some wings soon. Said, Mom's going to this concert on Saturday. What do you guys want to do? Bo goes, I want to go get wings. And I go, All right. So I started.
When the little ones get something in their heads, it's tough
It's
to
over.
like get it out of their
Bro,
heads.
I'm 33. When I get
I'd
something
say,
in my head, I'm
you
like,
too. We
I'm
all.
doing
I
this.
mean, he's going to be locked into the Masters all day. I don't know that I'd be besmirching 6-year-olds in their attention spans because we're all the same way. So my brain starts working, and I go, well, what's my favorite wings? It's bar none. It's Hooters. Straight up. Straight up. There used to be one up by us. I think it's gone. So there is one in Mission Valley. It also happens to be close to the bigger Dave & Buster's.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I thought I take the boys down. We suck down some wings at Hooters. We crush those. Then we go to Dave & Buster's. We rage at Dave & Buster's, and it's a great, fun night. She goes, you're not taking our 6-year-old and 3-year-old to Hooters. I said, why? She goes, it's obvious why you don't take them to Hooters. You're disgusting. I go, I'm not taking them there to look at teas. I'm taking them there to eat wings. And she's like, you're absolutely not going
Hooter research.
to do Hooter research at Hooters. And I kind of let it die, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
So my thoughts are it's actually fine to take your
I'm surprised that I'm
kids.
glad that you
It's
have
not
my
a-
back here.
Yeah, it really is just a restaurant. And I don't think that the boys of your kids' age are really going to even notice anything in terms of the attire of the wait
Bo
staff.
goes to school on Monday. Hey, guess where I went?
Just crushed it at Hooters over the weekend with my dad. They're like, did your parents get divorced? Why are you at Hooters with your dad? So
Did you drive your Corvette down
yeah,
there?
I just loaded the kids up in the vet. We went down to Hooters. Yeah. And so I go, babe, I really like their wings. And she suggested a couple other places. I go, but I don't like those wings. They don't taste good to me.
I would say
Hooters naked wings are my favorite wings, bar none in the world. It's like almost the only wings I'll actually eat.
there are better wings. out
They're that's all personal preference. Like some people's favorite pizza is Papa John's. I won't eat Papa John's with a gun to my head, right? I'm a round table guy, as you know.
Why round table?
Why round table? Simply the best. So I go. So my the way I reconciled, I said I'm going to say this to her, and I'll say it to her right here on the air. What if I order a bunch of wings and then we have from Hooters and we just do a little picnic in my car, like lift the back thing, sit back there and have some wings? That would be fine, yes?
You can't even argue with
You
that.
can't argue with that one. And we have a little picnic, sucking down Hooters wings. Now, they're going to have to walk inside with me to pick them up. I'm not leaving them in the car. They got to walk inside with me. It's not a strip club.
It's not. It's
not
just
like
a
I'm
restaurant.
taking them to,
No.
explicit or something. Like, Delilah's
I mean,
here.
you can hit that on the way back from Dave & Buster's if you want.
What?
The strip club.
I could,
yeah.
but not with my children.
Or go take him to Jen Sturger's comedy show tonight in Claremont Mesa on the way back. Perfect timing.
Probably 18 and up, I would bet. They'd be sitting there going, what are we doing here? That's divorced dad energy for sure. I gotta go see this chick that I know. She's doing stand-up. Come on. She goes, you're not doing it. Absolutely not. So I guess I can't go.
I mean, could we...
Have you ever taken your kids to Hooters?
I feel like we did. I think Shelly and I had wings, and the boys were with us at some point when they were around your kids' age. I sort of remember that.
Listen, when I go to a place like that, I'm there for the food. Okay? I'm not there for the entertainment. I've seen enough boobs in my life. I'm good. Like, my wife has perfect Hooters anyway. Why would I want to look at anyone else's Hooters except for her Hooters? So that's also the way I felt. I just want the wings. I don't think it's going to corrupt. Taylor may be into it. Bo, last night, we were watching a movie, and Sofia Vergara was on, and she's beautiful. And I said, what do you think about her? She's really pretty. He goes, no. Like that. So I don't even think it would affect them at all.
I think another issue here is, though, that do you not like sauced wings at all?
So I get them. They have I don't like breaded wings. I like they're naked, but when it's naked, it doesn't mean they're dry. It means that they're not breaded. Because I actually don't like their breaded wings. I like the naked wings, no breading, and rolled in sauce.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's buffalo
So naked
sauce on
doesn't
there.
mean sauceless. It means non-breaded.
And I'll eat
now,
sauceless wings
most
too.
chicken wings are not breaded when you order them at the sports bar or what have you. They're
Right.
sauced, but they're not. They're fried.
Yeah.
But without breading on top.
Now Hooters has breaded wings.
I do like their breaded wings. I think
that's
they're
weird.
good. They're
Yeah.
like little fried chicken wings, and they're pretty tasty.
Here's the thing: everyone is recommending to me different wing places. I don't want different wings. I want those wings. Those are the wings that I like. People are like, well, there's better wings. There probably is. It's like sometimes if you just want a steak, you're like, I'll just get a steak from friggin' California Pizza Kitchen because they deliver. I'm not going to go to Rare Society every time I want a steak. You know what I mean? Like sometimes these are the wings that I like.
Everybody in the chat is shouting out, in particular, Dirty Birds, and I would fully endorse.
Where is Dirty Birds?
They have a bunch of locations.
Do they have half-nude waitresses?
I thought
that
that wasn't
doesn't
why
matter.
you were going.
It's not. I'm just making sure
No,
that
they
I'm...
don't.
Okay.
College area, Liberty Station, Ocean Beach, Pacific Beach, and UCSD La Jolla.
Remember the place? What was the place that was down by the ballpark with the girls in the? I think they wore
Tilted Kilt.
Yeah, they wore like Catholic schoolgirl uniforms right by the ball.
Oh yeah,
I saw
That was a
kids in.
Scottish themed restaurant.
Yes,
What did
yes,
they-
it was.
I'm back at the old station.
Yeah, you did a lot of remotes.
We did
there.
a lot of remotes at the Mission Valley one because
Wonder-
we're dudes and we talk about sports and we have 18 reporters on every week.
I wonder how many waitresses were hit on by a certain morning or a certain couple of show hosts from that place. You know, during those remotes. So I may do the Hooters picnic, minus the Hooters. You know, just get the wings.
My and again, I don't think you're wrong, especially about personal opinion on something like wings.
They just
which
taste good to me.
I think the difference between wings at various restaurants is rather small. It's,
Do you?
I think they're pretty.
See, I disagree.
I think they're pretty small differences.
I disagree fully. I really do. I think
I can absolutely, if you did a taste test, I could tell you Hooters, Buffalo Wild Wings,
Yeah.
or
Dirty Birds.
Dirty Birds. Yeah, for
but
example.
some people will prefer any of the three
Yeah,
based on the differences. I don't think that there's one. Oh, far and away, these are the best wings. It really does come down to personal preference on something like wings.
Hannah said that her dad one time, the great Lauren Nancaro, got in trouble from her mom during his live shot at the grand opening of the Tilted Kilt. What could he possibly have been doing? He's like, two girls on his lap. I'm Lauren Nancaro, the grand opening of Tilted Kilt down here by the ballpark.
I do worry when a restaurant has a sub theme. Like if the food is not considered the draw, that worries me because
See, I look at
want to
it-
go to a restaurant that takes pride in their food. And if they think they're drawing people in for a reason other than the food,
I call that a double whammy, though. It's
that
like
worries me a little bit.
The food tastes good and, whatever. You get the
It's possible. I'm not
other
saying
scene.
that. I'm
When
not
you
saying
mentioned
that.
the picnic. You can't really do that with wings.
You can. If I get them, we go right to my car and eat in the Hooters parking lot. We're good.
They're extremely messy.
Massively best.
You need so many napkins.
Bro,
you
I
need
am
to
a
be
da-
sitting down.
I am a dad. I have paper towels in my car. I have wipes in my car. These kids S themselves on a daily, but you never know when they're going to absolutely pee or crap their pants. You got to be prepared at all times. I keep them in my baseball bag. I'm covered there. So I think maybe we'll do that. I think maybe we'll just do a cool picnic. Nothing like a cool picnic in Mission Valley somewhere in a parking lot at like 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. That should go really well. We're much safer in Hooters.
I still totally don't understand Mission Valley. There's like 27,000 hotel rooms in Mission Valley. It's the last place in San Diego I'd ever want to stay if I was coming to visit.
Buddy, you don't know that if you're from Akron, though.
Apparently not.
You go, ooh, Hotel Circle. This must be awesome. It's a circle of hotel. There's a golf course right here.
right there.
There's a mall.
Last September, my mother and her husband were in town. They came in the studio, hung out with us. 2 weeks before their trip, I go, where are you staying? And she sends me the address, and she goes, we're staying in this place called Oceanside. Now, Oceanside, I will say, I know we have a lot of people that listen to Oceanside. There are some rough parts of Oceanside.
There are.
There's also,
But
really
it's on-
changing.
it's on
the
the-
ups.
the rise,
I've
yeah.
driven through there. It
looks awesome.
gorgeous. She sent me she's a cheapo, and she's listening right now. I'm sure she is. she will just take the cheapest hotel she can find, try to save a few bucks. Gary Woods knows. And she sends me this dress, and I go, absolutely not.
It's like you couldn't. My parents
put her at a Hilton Garden Inn in Del Mar.
Yeah,
so you're going to be fine over there.
You couldn't stay further away. Also, like it's the least
but
convenient.
She doesn't
place.
know that. She lives in the middle of nowhere, Washington, and she sees Oceanside.
It's the side by the ocean.
If you Google Oceanside, you're probably going to get great reviews. You know what I mean? And she's like, "Oh, this is going to be beautiful." I'm like, "Not that part of Oceanside, Mom."
Cole says, if you have an air fryer, you can make your own wings. I don't want to make my own wings. I don't want any other wings. I just want Hooters wings, and not served between the breasts of a waitress at Hooters. I don't want that. I'm not even going looking for that part of it. I just want to eat the wings. I'll wear my sleep mask if I have to and just eat wings sitting at my table. So she's put the kibosh on it. I'm going to choose probably not to be rebellious in this and go against her.
I think you can use this as an opportunity to find some good
wings. What if they suck?
They don't.
What if they do?
I don't trust that Woods, even if everyone else loved the wings, would like the wings.
He'd be the one.
Yeah, he'd be the one that. Nah, these aren't any. Yeah, these are terrible.
Well, here's what I do know. Whatever they are, they won't satisfy the craving that I have for Hooters right now, and I mean Hooters wings. Okay, when I start craving Hooters, that's all I want. Hooters. So we'll see.
Research.
We'll see if we do the picnic. That might be a good idea, and then go to. I mean, it is the most divorced dad night of my life. Hooters wings with my kids straight to Dave & Buster's in Mission Valley. I mean, it doesn't get any better. Blasting Creed in the car.
Tell your mom I said.
Yeah, tell your mom that she needs to send that check. So good. Well, thank you for entertaining me and entertaining my parental questions here, but yeah, I don't know what to do. The kibosh has been put down. I don't see that. Everyone's equal to me. That's how I look at it. These are just.
Now this is tonight.
Tomorrow night.
No, that's tomorrow night for Billy Joel and Sting.
Yeah.
Because you do have games to watch this weekend as well.
What time is the game tomorrow?
I think tomorrow is a little earlier, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe we'll do the afternoon Hooters trip /
tomorrow.
Dave & Buster's.
6:10.
Yeah, 1 hour earlier than the 7:10 that tonight's game starts at.
And Sunday Night Baseball.
Okay, I got to take my shirt off because I'm sweating, or my hoodie.
All right, we actually have a few guests on the program this morning. We'll give you the menu, lay out what we've got planned here on a Friday, a Friar Friday, of course, with Ben and Woods. We had a good roundtable yesterday. Talk about all of it coming up. Glad to have you with us as we wrap up the week on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's get a check of traffic with Kelly Danick, and then off and running on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning.
Well, that was a fun one. That was a fun conversation. The chat just went ham in there. Like, it just went crazy. I think I figured out the reason why she really doesn't want me to go. If I go in there with those two little G's, there's going to be like 20 servers hanging around the table. When I go anywhere with them, it's like, you hear that. You'll be walking through CVS and you'll hear, like Bo especially, he's got the thing. He's got the thing.
He's got it.
He's got it. And people like are drawn to him. It's very, very, it's not strange. I mean, he's beautiful. And Taylor, too. Taylor's so funny and this big personality. Hannah also knows if I'm sitting there at the table with them, it's not going to be one server. There's going to be like 20 servers sniffing around.
It's not like you're going home with any of them.
That's my point. Exactly. It's exactly right.
You're going to get really good service.
Great service.
At a restaurant where you like the food. That's a win-win.
That's a win-win right there.
That's a win-win.
I know. You see it. You see it. I'm glad you see it, buddy.
All right, we got a good Friday show for you here, wrapping up the week. Off day for the Padres yesterday. Had a good round table. Everybody was in the studio, a little cramped in here, but
I had a blast.
We got it done, and we had some good conversations yesterday.
Hannah said to me, I met her for an appointment right after, and she goes, hey, that sounded really, really good. And I said, I have fun doing it. That's the misconception. I really have fun doing it. I told Tony Gwynn Jr. walking out, if you've missed the round table yesterday, you can go back and listen. I could listen to him talk. I really feel like the round table should be Ben asking Tony Gwynn Jr. questions, and then we weigh in with our own question because he's the only one that played at the highest level. And so that's kind of the guy I lean to. And
we don't get to see Tony very often.
We don't.
When he is in studio, which is rare during baseball season,
sure.
It's hours after we're out of here, and got to see him yesterday for 5 minutes, talk to him. It's so much fun hearing him talk baseball.
And listening to his explanations of things. Yeah. And like
it weighs a little bit more.
You feel like I felt like an idiot when Ben was asking me a question and I'm answering, but I'm looking like this out of the corner of my eye to see if he's nodding or shaking his head. You know, like it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but he's so good on it.
So we can talk a little bit more about if you missed the round table. I thought there were some good points made. Woods made some good points.
You just play it.
We could have played it for an hour, but that's okay. We're also going to talk about the update, the details that came out yesterday on the Shohei Ohtani translator, Ipe Mizuhara, federal investigator, the complaint that was filed, the charges that he is facing, and how on earth this all got away from everybody and got away from Shohei Ohtani. And the bottom line, I think, here is that I don't think Shohei Ohtani did anything wrong at all. I know that some people won't be convinced of that, but if you read through the complaint and the articles about what actually transpired, it does sound like Shohei Ohtani, is unbelievable as it was, did not know that millions of dollars, like now they're talking about 16 millions of his dollars, were just stolen from him by his translator without his knowledge over the period of just like a year and a half. And the gambling details are gnarly, absolutely gnarly. And we'll talk about that coming up here later in our first hour of the program. Second hour of the show, we will start our guests after Take on Woods and Don't Do This. Kevin Charity, our friend from Mad Friars, is going to join us. All the Padres minor league affiliates, season's underway, and like Graham Pauley had a couple of home runs at AAA last night. Good start as he goes back, but does it mean anything? And who else is down there that's off to a good start that could impact the Padres this season? Talk to Kevin Charity from Mad Friars at 7:35. Then right at 8, we'll have our Friday conversation with our friends from Sesus Family Barbecue. Both Jake and Jordan are going to be with us. They were going to do it last week. We switched it. They're going to both be with us this week. Our friends at Grand Ole Barbecue always present that conversation with two of the better baseball guys that are covering the sport nowadays. Really entertaining content.
Yep.
And always enjoy having them. Had them last season. They are back this year. And then it's a Friar Friday, so after we'll do an early Rindle report. Mike Shildt will join us at 9 o'clock from Los Angeles. He went up yesterday, so he'll be waking up in the morning and joining us as they get ready for a later game tonight against the Los Angeles Dodgers. 7:10 start to open the 3-game series at Chavez Ravine, and we'll talk with the skipper, Mike Shildt, this morning at 9 o'clock.
Good show right there, buddy. Very excited about it.
Yeah, looking forward to. It was a good off day. Thanks to the series win and the win by the Padres on Wednesday. I think everyone could feel good about it. I did find it interesting, and we can discuss this as well, but did you read Kevin Acee wrote a piece on the off day just kind of about where the Padres kind of stand. And I found it notable that he did a little game. He went and asked every player that he could run into, what's your record? None of them know the record of the team.
Interesting.
And I was surprised by that because every morning it's like I live and die. What's the Padres record? All right, they're one game under 500 now. They're 7-8 after the win. And I all right, if they could just win 2 out of 3 here against the Dodgers, they can get back to 500. And I think about that constantly. And it strikes me as interesting that the players almost never think about it. Like Tatis was the only one who was close. I think we're like a game or so under 500. The other guys had, I got no idea. You tell me, what's our record? I feel like they all felt like we're doing what we're trying to do. We're playing well. We like how we're starting the season, but like, does that translate to more wins than losses? They didn't know. They're so in the game that they're playing that day.
Makes sense.
That the big picture is almost completely lost on players who were involved in the baseball season.
And it's probably by design. You know what I mean? It's probably a conscious thing of like, no, man, I gotta. It's so day by day, and it's so at bat by at bat. It's so pitch by pitch. That's why the season is so long. If you sat there like, oh crap, we're 7-8, right? Are we 7-8?
7-8.
I don't even know either. We're 7-8 right now. That's a game below. If we win these two, if we win 2, you can't do it. You'll go crazy.
But I do it all the time.
Well, yeah,
but players don't.
You're different.
Yeah.
You're different. How many shows have we done this year? I have no idea. How many good shows have we done this year? 4. You know, so I do know. We've done 4 good shows. It's April.
I would say we've done like 74 good shows this year.
I don't even know that we've done 74 shows this year. Look, he's doing the math.
Yeah, we've done at least 74 shows.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, 4 good shows, 4 and 70 on the season. We got time. It's early. Let's go to break.
All right, we're going to come back. We'll talk about the unbelievable details in the Ippei Mizuhara federal charges that were coming out yesterday. Talked about it a little bit, like the breaking news the day before, but this is now
the text messages.
The text messages, yes, Paulie. The text messages.
He basically says, "I'm cooked. I'm cooked."
Unbelievable.
He tweets the Texas guy back.
Unlike anything I think we've ever seen in
Correct.
sports. To actually see the messages and the details, it was weird.
It's coming up next here with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Gamble responsibly. They had that tagline to the end of most of those commercials that you
Gambling
hear.
problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466.
Yeah. And now you can see why they do that, because there are some people who cannot gamble responsibly. I don't know that I've ever seen an instance of someone gambling as irresponsibly, though, as Ippei Mizuhara.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who the biggest moron.
I mean,
in
you
this
can talk
situation
about
is.
Michael Jordan and how it impacted his career maybe in his
He
life.
had
But
the money, though.
He had tons of money. Phil Mickelson, but he had
the money.
tons of money. But to be gambling on the levels that Ippei Mizuhara was gambling,
It's like nothing I've ever seen.
on
There's
the
three
salary
idiots
that he
in-
was obviously making.
There's 3 idiots in this story. I still think Ohtani is to blame for some of this. Like, how do you not notice money? And again, the details will come out.
We've talked about it,
I
though.
understand. It just boggles my mind that you could not even be aware of losing that much
So,
money. And then Mizuhara obviously is an idiot. And then who's this bookie that's just like gonna let it keep going? Like,
Well,
at what point do you go, no, dude, you need to give me some money?
He
first.
did. He did. If you read the report, there were times when he would say, he said at one point, this was creepy. He goes, hey,
Oh, I saw this. Part.
you're not responding. I saw
Victim A.
which is Shohei Ohtani. I saw him walking his dog. I'm about to go up to him
Whoa.
unless you get me some money. That's when the panic would set in. And look, I don't like the Dodgers. I know that. I don't think this kid did anything wrong. I really don't. I
Ohtani.
think he's a rube, and there's still things that I question.
That's what I'm saying.
question
That's what I'm
things.
saying.
Yeah, and I see some of those questions in our chat. Let's get into what
it.
some of those questions are and what the actual federal complaint says and how it does address some of those questions about how this actually happened. We'll talk about that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple of problems on our roads in the South Bay, northbound 5 near the 805. A collision, no details as to whether that is blocking lanes. Also northbound 805, just before Governor, we have reports of a stalled big rig over to the right shoulder. It's still clearing a crash in the North County, northbound 15 for Falacita. It's over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
One of the points I'm seeing a lot, chat, other people talking about the Shohei Ohtani translator story. And Joe in our chat says, my bank alerts me, sends a SWAT team, assigns an investigator to my account when 30 cents comes out in a weird transaction. No way Shohei was clueless and not involved. And I keep hearing that, and I had the exact same concerns. But based on the report that came out yesterday and the federal complaint, the explanation for that, and maybe you have trouble believing this as well, none of the parties that you would expect to be like, okay, what's going on with these wire transfers? The bank, his agent, his financial advisors, they all were aware going, this is weird. Something is going on here. And so they would continue to contact Shohei Ohtani. How did they contact Shohei Ohtani? None of them spoke Japanese. So they would call Ippei Mizuhara, and Ippei Mizuhara would say, yeah, I just talked to Shohei. He says, no, well, this is a private account. It's nothing to worry about. He would continually lie to the people who were checking on Shohei Ohtani to make sure it was okay, because they all had to go through him first. And should that have raised some red flags? Absolutely. I think some people missed the boat on what could be happening here. And it's a huge warning that you should never let anybody have that much power over your personal data, information, and life, as Shohei Ohtani did with his translator. However, when you don't speak the language and you're in a new country and you are going to be reliant on some people, and he put his trust in the wrong person, is basically what seems to have happened here. Was that your read on the same thing, Woods?
Yeah, my read is that, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. My number one question, Ben, C20 Moreno nailed it. The only thing I question is, and this guy must have his head in the clouds more than any human being on the planet. If we spent 24 hours a day together, I would know damn well what you were up to. I spend 4 hours with you guys a day, and I know damn well everything that's going on in your lives. And you guys know everything that's going on in my life. If I was making 22 bets a day, betting college soccer at 160 grand a clip, I think you guys would know about it. And this is a period of a few years. This isn't like one bender, where he's like, I went nuts for like a month. This is over years. Now, maybe Ipe got so good and which, by the way, addicts will do. Addicts will absolutely find ways to explain things away. No, this happened, and no, don't worry about it. Calling my mom, whatever it may be. Like, addicts are brilliant. They're brilliant. I mean, they're brilliant at hiding their addiction. So that's the one thing I thought about was like, how did he not know his buddy liked to get this much action? Get this much action on games and as many games. That's really but that's not anything illegal. You know what I mean? Being a dummy isn't punishable. You don't need to be suspended because you're unaware. The other one to me is he clearly has a really smart team of people working for him. Anybody that would take a deal like he took from the Dodgers, right? With the deferments and, now this loophole that they found and exploited. He's got a good, smart team around him. Nobody knew? Fine. Ipe was the conduit to all of it? Fine. I guess I buy it. I don't really have a choice. I didn't think they were going to do anything to Shohei anyway. Even if he was found guilty of covering his debts, I still didn't think anything was going to happen to him. I really didn't. I never thought this was going to go anywhere suspension-wise, and as much as we want that to be true.
That would have honestly been the most believable scenario.
For me, I actually probably would have gone with that story to save face.
Yeah.
Literally to save face and be like,
hey, I didn't place a single bet, but that's my boy.
He needed the help.
He's working on his issues, but I need to help him out.
I covered his ass. That's what I did.
I would buy that 100%.
I'm telling you, man, when you start reading the texts from Ipe to the bookie, that's when your heart starts to break a little bit because you see a guy that is so far down in the hole doing anything he can to get his way out. And that meant lying, that meant cheating, that meant stealing, that meant turning off notifications, messing with bank transfer, all of it.
Yeah, he changed like the settings on Ohtani's account to make sure the phone number, the email, he was getting everything that would be sent to Shohei Ohtani bank related. And whether you believe it or not, the Fed report, this is what is in there. And the reason why I do have some trust here in Ohtani is that the Federal report also said Ohtani gave them his phone. And they went through like Ohtani's phone, like all the text messages he sent to Ipe, which had to be tens of thousands of them, if not hundreds of thousands over the last few years. And there was not any mention of gambling in any of them. There was nothing suspicious in all of the texts that were sent between the two of them over several years. So unless they were planning this in advance, like, okay, before we even start, we got to have our complete burner phones that we use to communicate with this. And in that case, then he's like the most evil genius of all time. It does sound to me like Shohei Ohtani was a victim of both not only his translator, but some incompetence on the part of the people who should have been looking out for him to not see what was going on.
Yeah, he's got a big agency. CAA is his. I mean, that's a huge black eye for them. Huge. Like, if you're an athlete, and especially if you're an athlete from a foreign country, anybody signing with CAA right now? No. Look at what just happened. I just lost $16.5 million under your nose. And again, ultimately, it's on Shohei. It's under my nose. That's my money. Man, I'm not going to look again. I don't necessarily feel terrible for him. This would suck to happen to you, but he's gonna get his money back. Nothing's gonna happen to him. He's not gonna get suspended. Like, it's a tough lesson to learn. Don't trust anybody, especially if you're beyond filthy rich. And reading the text messages, man, made my skin crawl. Please bump me again. This is the last time I'll ask. Please bump me. I won't ask again.
Which means extending more credit. Getting deeper into the hole.
We're talking like on a Monday, he would send that text. And then on a Tuesday, hey, this is the last time I'm going to ask. It is, if you've ever been addicted to anything, it's gnarly.
Remember when the story first broke and the number that was reported as how much Mizuhara had lost in gambling debts was around $4 million. And I said, okay, but keep in mind that if you've lost $4 million gambling, you've probably bet around $40 million because that's how gambling works. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. figure about 10% is what's on average you're going to lose. Well, as it turned out, the number he actually lost and stole from Shohei Ohtani, well, he stole about $16 million. The number he lost was like $40 million. And he was a bad gambler, but they said that he made, $180 million in bets. And this is not over like 50 years. This is over the last couple of years.
It was 182 and then 142, the difference being 40-something million dollars. I mean, it is the amounts of bets. I think they said the highest bet he made, which makes my stomach turn, $160,000 on a game. And again, all over the map. College, they said no baseball bets, which that part to me, also, I'm not saying it doesn't add up.
You've never bet on college soccer?
No.
Little NC State women action?
Never.
No, never? Okay, good.
And I like to place better too, but it just goes to show you how dangerous it can be, and that you have to bet with your head and not over it. You have to set a limit. And, it's really a scary thing, certainly. And we've normalized it. I'm saying me. I've normalized it. We all, place bets and stuff like that. I don't mean to normalize it because I don't want that to happen to someone.
And that is the danger. And I'm glad you brought that up because there is a certain view that gambling, even with an illegal bookmaker, hey, kind of a victimless crime. You know what you're getting into.
Yep.
They're providing a service. It's a business relationship, and if you're a consenting adult and you can do it responsibly, it's not that big of a deal. Unfortunately, when it is under the table, when it is with a bookie like this, the texts that really were the scary ones was when he was getting so deep into the hole, and the bookie would say, I'm going to need some sort of payment. And so that put the pressure on Ipe. Obviously, I got to get the money somehow, and I've got access to, Shohei's stuff. So he would start sending, because all they would let him send was $500,000 at a time. And he could do that once a week. And the bookie would say, I like you, man, and, I trust you, but my partner here, he needs to see some money. The unnamed partner, and the threat was implied in those texts, like, it's going to be out of my hands.
It's out of my hands
if you don't get some money. That's a threat of physical harm and violence right there. Even though it's not explicitly said, that's how I read some of those texts from the illegal bookmaker.
If you ever watched Sopranos, they're sending Furio. Like, Furio's coming to your house. He's knocking on the door, ponytail and all, and you better have my money.
Gonna break your kneecaps.
It's out of my hands. I can't do anything about it. Furio is coming, and you better have that money ready. No excuses. And that's when you can see, the panic set in, and that's when you do whatever you have to do.
Stookie Brothers.
Self-preservation, by the way, can make people do some really, really awful things. There's no doubt. I would be embarrassed if this happened to me. I would. I'd be mortified. Like, how could I be such a rude?
But it also is not really out of their hands. The bookmakers are also doing something illegal, and they should realize that it's not okay to be threatening people for this money, even if they were adults and they went into this relationship and they lost it. To pressure someone who doesn't have the money to come up with money like that. That is the actual, the biggest crime that's committed
You're
here.
a sweet kid for thinking that's not how it works.
I know that's not how it works, but that is what we're talking about. That's why illegal bookmaking is a problem and is something that, while a lot of people can do responsibly, and I only bet like $100, $200 a week, whatever. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Sure.
Always settle up with my guy. It's not a problem for probably the vast majority of people who do it. When there's no controls, when there's no system in place, this is where the concern is on a legal, ethical, moral level when it comes to illegal gambling.
Yeah, man. It's, again, and like I said from the get-go, nothing was ever going to happen. This dude, I don't want to say, and again, this isn't because he's guilty or innocent, but he kind of transcends it right now. And if you're going to paint him as just the dumb rube with his head in the clouds, or he's just so focused on baseball, that's kind of the narrative I didn't want to hear at the beginning. But if that's really the case, and this guy was ripping phone calls, talking to the bank, changing notifications in his phone, that's a lot of trust to give one person. Doesn't make you a criminal. Makes you a moron. Yep. Makes you a moron. Doesn't make you a criminal. It makes you one of the dumber guys around to go, here's my phone, here's my accounts, have a ball, I'm going to go shag flies. Doesn't make you a criminal. It makes you dumb. And there's no question about it.
I don't care how much you trusted that one individual. When we're talking these figures with that status of superstar, you're an idiot.
Well, and that's why the bookie. It's very clear in the text. That's why the bookie kept extending him. He knew who was not backing him, but he knew who he had access to. And also,
and when you're the bookie, it's always good to have a guy deeper and deeper in the hole. I mean, you just have more control over that person.
Exactly right.
The deeper that they go.
It's called the bust out in The Sopranos. You can go take over their sporting goods store, But like it is, it's a gnarly story. How do you? He'll be fine. It hasn't slowed him down. I think that you have to be.
Shohei? Oh,
yeah, I think when
you're
you're a baseball player of that ilk and that stature, you have to be a little bit sociopathic. I don't think you have a choice. Like I think you have to be unaffected by most things around you.
Ultimately, it's a very expensive lesson, but it's one that he can afford.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Most of us couldn't, but Shohei Ohtani can afford this incredibly expensive lesson in the real world and how things work. All right, we'll come back. We're going to play a little Take on Woods, get you set. We got a Dodgers series coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Padres Dodgers tonight here on 97.3 The Fan. You can catch the Eco Water SoCal pregame show just after 6 o'clock. Yoshinobu Yamamoto will make his second start for the Dodgers against the Padres. Of course, started that second game in Korea when the Padres knocked him out of the game after just one inning, scoring 5 runs against him. Padres went on to the 15-11 win over the Dodgers to split the Seoul series. Now, in that game, Joe Musgrove started, scuffled a bit, and Michael King came in the fourth. He will start tonight against the Dodgers. So he pitched 3 1/3 in that game, Woods. 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Did get the win in relief.
Bit of a vulture.
A bit of a vulture. Now, the numbers are not terrific in that start, but it was really just Mookie Betts who he hurt him for a 2-run homer, and then in the last inning, he walked Mookie, and they took Michael King out, and I believe Matsui allowed the inherited run to score. Those accounted for the 3 runs that he allowed. So, Mookie, obviously, who was the hottest player on the planet for the first 10 games of the season, he got his. But otherwise, Michael King actually, I thought, pitched not badly against the Dodgers in that first effort in Korea. We'll see if any of that translates over tonight to the opening game of the series. Again, starts just after 7 o'clock, pregame show just after 6 o'clock here on 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, I'm, I like every series, you're cautiously optimistic, right? And you look at the pitching matchups and say, all right, yeah, Yamamoto has figured it out since, but Michael King looks like he's figured something out too. Their top 6 is nasty, dude. They're straight up. They're just the nasty, relentless, good ABs all the time. They're just a nasty-looking team. And if you could find a way to navigate or minimize Ben for 5-6 innings, and what's going to be really interesting, and we'll ask Mike Shildt about it tonight. He'll have a fresh bullpen ready to deploy. How aggressive are you? How aggressive are you in these games against the Dodgers? How aggressive are you going to be on the base paths? And then you look at Saturday's matchup and you go, okay, Matt Waldron, who looked really, really sharp, against Gavin Stone, who has really scuffled. Now, the Padres against guys that have really scuffled, other than maybe Kyle Hendricks, they have a tough time against those guys too. So because it makes no sense, they'll probably light up Yamamoto and get shoved on by Gavin Stone. But listen, this is a gettable Dodgers team. They absolutely are. They're just, if you can get through that first 6, and minimize the damage early, Benny, you got as good a shot as anybody.
What you can't let happen in this series is you cannot let the bottom third of the Dodgers order
get hot.
Gavin Lux, Kike Hernandez, whoever's in there, you cannot let them get going. Chris Taylor hitting .037. If those guys start doing some damage at the bottom of the order, there's only so much you can do against the top of their order. The 4 chances for Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman.
Right. Then Will Smith, and then Max Muncy.
They're going to get something.
They're going to get
You're not going to shut them out 3 games. So they're going to get something. You cannot let the bottom third get hot.
How scared are you, though? And how conditioned are we when Chris Taylor steps to the plate? This is a 3-run homer. I mean, you can almost count on it. Max Muncy, he always eats against the Padres.
James Outman hit a home run in their last game, 3-run shot.
Yeah.
That's worrisome.
Gavin Lux. It's just the matchup is not our favorite matchup, certainly. But I don't know too many people going into a series with the Dodgers, saying, oh, yeah, I really like our matchups against these guys. They're a good team, straight up. 2 out of 3 would be a dream. Now, if they sweep the Dodgers, I'll eat a handful of jelly beans from the gross. I'll eat a handful. 3 games.
Jelly bean roulette.
The jelly bean. I'll reach my hand down. I don't even spin it. All of them together.
The whole thing.
Like a smorgasbord.
A sweet.
I'll do 2 out of 3. We went 2 out of 3.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
100%. People deserve
baseball.
it. People deserve it.
Dodgers aren't going to win every series all year long. They already lost one. They lost their series to the Cubs just a few days ago.
That's exactly right.
Who won the Padres series?
And then the Padres beat the Cubs 2 out of 3. By that logic,
we're going to take 2 out of 3.
Padres are the favorites here. Dodgers really the underdogs going into this series.
Be the happiest handful of jelly beans your boy ever ate. At the end of the day, they're just jelly beans, so I'll suck them down.
I mean, they shouldn't harm you physically.
No.
They allow children to consume them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do understand that point.
Yeah.
Need a contestant for Take on Woods. It's our Friday edition of our musical trivia game. Chance to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas. Call now, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Play here in just a couple of minutes. Just wrapped up the first round of the Masters that was delayed a little bit by weather yesterday and then called early due to darkness. One of the players who was still on the course with 5 holes left yesterday was Tiger Woods. He did not get off to a good start today. He was 1 under through his first 13 holes yesterday, which was pretty darn good considering how little competitive golf he's played. But he bogeyed 14, and then he bogeyed 18 to finish at 1 over par, a 73 for Tiger Woods in the first round of the Masters, and he'll tee off in his second round very shortly, momentarily, as the second round is now well underway at Augusta National Golf Club. So I saw Jordan Spieth had a terrible finish. He had a quad on number 15. He's pretty much out of it. Doesn't even have a chance to make the cut. Some other guys struggling, but the leader after the first round is Bryson DeChambeau.
Shocking to me.
Woods coming off the Live Tour and was just bombing the ball yesterday like he does. Put himself in good positions, made a few putts on the back 9, and just like that, had a 65, 7 under par, and a one-shot lead over the number 1 player in the world. I would think everybody there has got to be pretty nervous that Scottie Scheffler got off to a good start because he just does not play bad golf. And the fact that he's at 6 under right now, he's going to be very hard to hold off this weekend. He was the favorite to begin with. I think he's now even more of a favorite. Even though he's not in the lead, he's even more of a favorite now going into the second round.
I'm going to need Mrs. Scheffler to go into labor. I've got Rory, and I need Mrs. Scheffler to have that baby.
That's right. She is close, and he has said if it happens, he's going to leave. Same with Sam Burns. I think he was 8 over, so no worries about Sam Burns leaving if his wife goes into labor. But going to be a tougher decision when you're right at the top of the leaderboard to leave the Masters early when you've got a chance to add a major title and a second green jacket, which is what Scottie Scheffler is going for. So that's a little quick update on the golf first major of the year going on at Augusta National. Rory McIlroy 1 under first round. Actually, his best start at Augusta in the last 6 years. He has gotten off some bad starts that have really pretty much taken him out of contention in the last few tournaments, and then he kind of finished and moved up the leaderboard, but it was too late. So he's not out of it at 1 under. The cut line right now is at 2 over. So Tiger Woods trying to make his 24th consecutive cut and tie the all-time record with Fred Couples and Gary Player. He'll need to shoot probably no worse than, even or 1 over at the most if he's going to make the cut. And remember, he's already played a few holes, and he's got to do all that walking on the hilly course. We'll see if he makes it through and can make the cut one more time here at Augusta National.
And so when we get out of here today, that's what you're doing?
Yeah, probably watching some Masters. You got to take my car in to get there's a coolant leak somewhere, I told you. So
fix it yourself.
I don't think I can fix that one myself. I could add coolant myself. I was able to do that myself. Proudly topped it off.
But if there's a leak.
But if there's like an actual part that's leaking, I'm not replacing radiator parts or
I need
coolant
to change
tanks.
My wife's Prius. The turn signal is gone out.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, so it's blinking really quickly, and I need to swap it out. So I went and bought the bulbs.
Yep.
Because I've done headlights before.
Sure.
But these, I was getting an oil change. They were like, "Oh, we'll do it for you. You have the bulbs?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. That would be great." They go, "Actually, you have to remove the front bumper to get in there, so we can't do that. We can't be liable."
Makes it harder for
blah,
you
blah,
to
blah.
do
And
it
I
as
go, "Well, F me. What am I supposed to do?" I was like looking around, like, "Oh, you got to take these clips out, and then you just pull the bumper off, and then you can stick your hand in there and replace the bulb." I'm like, "Oh, kill me."
My wife would have a bumperless Prius if she let me get my hands
Megan
on
goes,
it.
Don't
mess
my
with it.
bumper.
Yeah, 100%. My check engine light came on yesterday. I will also be going to the dealership today. Very cool. Very excited.
Car Trouble Friday for Ben Woods and Paul.
Sucks.
Please help us.
All right, let's see. We need we got
saging.
Valvoline. I love they're great.
Went in
I
2
went,
days
that's where I
ago.
went for the oil
Crushed
change.
it.
Yeah, the oil change is great, but I don't know if you've got more serious
I think I do.
issues.
Yeah, I think I do.
That
They
do
put
all
new
of them,
wipers
so.
on.
Yeah,
They
that's great.
changed the bulb that goes above your license plate was out,
Yeah,
but
legit.
they just said we cannot take off your bumper
Yeah,
and do that.
and they told
for
me they
us.
can't fix my coolant leak either. So.
Yeah, they'll get you an oil change and get you dialed in.
All right, let's play today's game. It is time for some Take on Woods. Take on Woods brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes
I love
15 minutes,
Valvoline.
and you don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. David, you are up today on Take on Woods. Happy Friday to you. Welcome.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning. All right, let's get you qualified for the trip to Las Vegas. 2 nights at the Westgate. Tickets to Kool and the Gang. Multiple sold-out shows. You can get yours at Ticketmaster.com and check out the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Their newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million in room renovations. All right, it is 5 questions. UV Woods. Beat or tie him. We'll put you into the drawing for Vegas. Here are the categories. Back to school. Questions about songs featuring school subjects. We've got royal titles, 5 songs or artists that include a British royal in their name, a title. And our new category, JETS, 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 Jets. It's an all 2-second song category with Jet being key in every answer. So, David, which one would you like to play? Back to school, royal titles, or JETS, 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 Jets?
Let's go with the Jets, Jets, Jets.
Oh, we're going musical today. All right, it's an all 2-second song edition of Take on Woods. You'll need to identify 5 songs and their artists, each to score the point, and each song title or artist includes the letters J-E-T in that order somewhere in the title or the name. Got it, David?
Wow, okay.
All right, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So
I have faith in you,
J-E-T-S,
David.
Jets, Jets, Jets. Paulie's
Oh,
going to
my
play
God.
all the music. Remember, I need the title and the artist for each song to score the point. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's
All
give
right,
it a shot.
60 seconds on the clock. Category JETS, 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 Jets. Your time begins when Paul plays the music of the first of our 5 songs. Good luck, David. Let's take on Woods.
Billy and the Jets, Elton John.
Correct.
Steve Miller, Airplane.
No, incorrect. Let's go to our next song.
Get Airplane.
Oh. Still not.
Jethro Tull, Aqualung.
Correct.
What's her name again? Oh, gosh darn it.
What's
She's
the
chick with
category?
the, I live, okay, hold it.
Yep.
Don't Jet.
Yep. And what's
What's
the
the song?
I love
title?
rock and roll.
Yes, last one. You want to hear it again?
Yeah, please. Beastie Boys?
No, but you did get 3 correct.
I couldn't give you the Steve Miller.
Yeah,
band.
it's Jet Airliner, not Airplane or Jet
Jet
Airplane.
Airplane.
It's Jet Airliner by Steve Miller Band. You did get Benny and the Jets by Elton John. You got Aqualung by Jethro Tull. There's the Jet in there. I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. The last one is Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet is the name of that band. So 3, and we'll bring Woods in and see how he does. Yep, you are up, Woodsy. David, stay on the line. We'll see if your score holds up. Woods doesn't get the category, but he does get to know that it's an all 2-second song edition of Take on Woods. So David's score is locked in. Resetting all the music in the clock. 60 seconds. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on David.
Benny and the Jets, Elton John.
Correct.
Jet Airliner, Steve Miller Band.
Correct.
That's Inagata Davida by Iron Butterfly.
Incorrect.
Oh, crap. I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Correct.
That is Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
4 out of 5 is a narrow 4-3 win.
What's that stupid
Over
song?
Jada.
Came on a park bench. What is it?
That is Aqualung,
Aqualung
by
by Jethro
Jethro Tull. So J-E-T was in every
Jet.
single
Oh.
answer. Benny and the Jets, Jet Airliner, Jethro Tull, Joan Jett,
that would've helped
and
me.
Jet. Yeah.
That would have helped me.
That still would have been the trickiest one because Jethro Tull doesn't really.
Yeah,
Just says
Jethro.
Jethro
You're kind
Tull.
of reaching on that
It's
one.
like, it's
but
like Eat Her.
I just said the letters J-E-T in that order.
Good.
You're going to find in all the answers. You do win it. David, thank you for playing. Not quite enough to beat Woods today. We will come back next week with another chance to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas.
Felt good to not only win, but to like. I've been playing so poorly. I told Paul, I go, I'm just ready to bang it. Let's get rid of it. You know how I get.
One of our favorite segments.
Just bang it.
Yeah.
Just forget it. Just come up with something different. I don't care. Just do a Ben. Let Ben just do sports trivia. I'm just ready to fall in line here.
Who won the 1987?
How many gold gloves did so-and-so have?
How long would you say we've been doing Take on Woods now? Close to 3 years?
Oh, God.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
3 years.
I mean, I'm fine to move on, but...
I was talking with Steve Smith at Channel 10 the other day. I could probably now, publish a book of music trivia.
Yeah,
I have
probably good.
In the neighborhood of maybe 700 different Take on Woods 5-question categories over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of music trivia that you've done, and you've done very well over the last 3 years.
Good winning percentage.
I still think it's a fun game.
I do too. I love the 2-second song.
It's a little more work to put those together.
Yeah,
Paulie does a really nice job on those.
It's really good.
But that one, and you got to find 5 songs that are recognizable. So that was a good one. All right, let's take a time out. We'll come back. Don't Do This is next, and it has only taken
it's what 2 weeks.
2 weeks. For the New York
Yankees
swing
the bat.
Media
swing the bat.
To echo some things that we heard during Juan Soto's time.
New York media bit is
here in San Diego.
It's going to be the death of me. Man, you guys got to be more like the New York media. They're so intelligent. It makes me want to jump through that glass right there.
That's coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't forget, we got guests coming up. Kevin Charity, Matt Friars talking Padres minor leagues at the bottom of the hour. We've got Jake and Jordan from Sesus Family Barbecue at 8 o'clock. And manager Mike Shildt, the manager's report on a Friar Friday, coming up at 9. Right now, though, it is Don't Do This, and let's jump right into it. Woodsy, you get us started.
Man, tough New York media already on Juan Soto's case. They were down to they were down 4-2, I believe, to the Marlins in the ninth inning. And runners on first and second. Juan Soto at the dish. Aaron Judge on deck. Juan Soto takes a walk on 4 wide pitches, as he will do a bunch of times. Does not expand his zone. Listen to this guy, our colleague. He's one of our colleagues, isn't he? He's an Odyssey guy from New York. Sal Licata.
Took everything looking. Yeah. We'll get into that in a second.
So wait, let's get into it now. Hold
on,
Rich,
and thank you for the call, Rich.
Get into what?
Yes, he's looking for a walk. Soto's looking for. Now, I love Juan Soto.
Yeah.
And John Harper, my colleague at SNY, correctly predicted I would at some point go nuts about Soto looking for a walk. A walk is not as good as a hit. And when you have Judge struggling and you got the pitcher on the ropes, you got first and second in a spot right there where you need to do damage. You're Juan Soto. You need to do damage, not draw a walk. And Juan Soto's looking for a walk. Swing the bat, bro. That's what you want to get paid. Swing the bat. I don't care if he's a Yankee, if he's a Met. I cannot accept a walk in that spot from Juan Soto. That does not get the job done. Passing the baton is not what I'm looking for from Juan Soto. I'm looking for him to do some damage. Now, if you don't get plenty of pitches to hit, fine. Soto was looking for a walk in that at bat. So much so that when he walked, it was like he accomplished some great feat.
He did.
Oh, here we go, baby. I'm pumped up. I walk. No, you didn't get the job done. You passed the baton to Judge, who's been cold, and he didn't get the job done. Soto failed. A walk in that spot was a fail for Juan Soto.
The way I look at when somebody says they're looking for a walk, to me, that implies they're afraid to swing the bat.
No.
Guys, I want to make sure you're not saying that. Please don't start saying that.
I don't think he was afraid.
You're not saying that. Please tell me.
He walked.
I understand that. Sometimes not every pitch is a strike.
I want him to do damage. I think Juan Soto approached that at bat like he does every other.
What?
And that's looking to have a quality
staying in his
bat.
process? That's why he's Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Took 2 weeks. Now, the best part about all
The
of
co-host there
this,
makes some good points.
Now, here's the best part. So later on in the day, he goes on a panel. Admits he never even watched a game.
Sal Licata.
Didn't even see the pitches. You set baseball back with takes like that. You set it back. It is the cry of the casual. I didn't watch the game. All I saw is BB in the box score, and I'm going to go on and give a rant. I didn't even see the pitches. I didn't watch the game. It's the cry of the casual. And again,
remember in 2001 when Barry Bonds just kept going up there looking for walks?
Right. Again, you don't slug what he slugs by looking for walks. You don't hit 35 home runs by looking for walks in Petco Park, no less. And I don't know. I mean,
I know there were some Padres fans on Sal's side of this debate when Juan Soto was a member of the Padres.
How could you?
And there were at-bats where he took pitches that were hittable and strikes and ended up walking later in that at-bat.
Sure.
And it frustrated some people. But ultimately, the pitcher's job, it's hard to get Juan Soto out. And it's hard to get any major league batter out. And the best way to do that is to get them to swing
pitches outside the
at
zone.
A bad pitch. That's your best chance to get a guy out.
I just retweeted a guy framed them all and circled where the pitches were. Again, you're talking about 4 out of the zone. That isn't passing the baton to Aaron Judge is a good baseball play, is it not? I mean, yes, if there's a strike in the zone, you try to hammer it, certainly. And he's hitting well for them.
It's tough to find a scenario in which loading the bases for Aaron Judge is
a bad move. Is a bad thing,
Something to get upset about.
That's the thing. And if you didn't even watch the game, you sound like a buffoon. You don't even know what you're talking about, and it's that kind of stuff that really sets our favorite game back. I make wrong takes all the time. But I at least try to make informed takes. I saw this. Maybe I didn't agree with it. Maybe it's a bad take. I don't care. I'm sure it happens all the time. But to get on your radio show in New York City, by the way, you can't walk. You can't walk. Swing the bat. If he hits a down and away pitch and rolls over and do a ground ball, what is he saying? You can't swing at that pitch. You got to get Judge up there with the bases loaded.
Exactly.
Absolute buffoonery out of our colleague Sal Licata. It said, dude, and then you read the replies. This is why sports radio sucks. This is why sports radio sucks. This is why sports radio sucks.
A walk is not as good as a hit.
Stupid, man.
It's actually the same in many circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, there's a runner in scoring. A knock there would have been great. You would have cut it to 4-3.
Maybe.
Judge
or
comes up,
you
they
just
walk
load
him.
I mean, if you hit, Soto hits the ball really hard in a small field like that. A hard liner to the right fielder that's a one-hopper single is a walk, essentially, also.
Except only one pitch, maybe, instead of 4 pitches.
Yeah.
It just sets us back so much. We're giving him the attention that he craves. Guy that he works with, who I love, Keith McPherson's his name. He's fantastic. Keith is awesome. He just said Sal, S-A-L, screams something loudly. That's what his name, that's what he does. He screams his point. It doesn't make sense. He didn't watch the game. It's just absurd. And he's a Met fan, by the way.
Screams absurdity
loudly, something
there
like that. Yeah. So good.
All right, we'll just do kind of a combination of don't and do this
DD mega doo-doo.
for our second story, because bad agenting may have finally cost Scott Boras, the super agent who always gets his clients the most, did not this offseason, and it seems to have cost him at least one client, according to sources. Jordan Montgomery, who was signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks in late March after failing to get the 6-7 year contract that he was looking for, the 9 figures over $100 million contract that he was expected by most people to get after leading the Texas Rangers to the World Series. Signed a 1-year, $25 million deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sounds like Jordan Montgomery wasn't too happy with how it all played out, because within the first 2 weeks of the season, he has reportedly fired Scott Boras as his agent and signed with the Wasserman agencies, Joel Wolf and Nick Chanock, as his new agents. No statements, nothing official, and I don't know if Jordan will comment or not on that, but this is one of those pretty obvious situations where you had a client, and I can only imagine that they had a game plan going into the offseason, and it did not go the way that Scott Boras planned it out for Jordan Montgomery, because you don't fire your agent a couple of weeks after signing a deal if you thought that things went really, really well in free agency for you.
I just pictured Scott Boras yesterday, and like Juan Soto he's going into a walk year this year. Juan Soto with a Cushman hat on, playing the guitar. Like, I just pictured him from Jerry Maguire. Yeah, Kush slash. This is Kush. I just Kush saves all. Soto saves all for Scott Boras. He had a rough
The
offseason.
Boras four of Matt Chapman, Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, and Jordan Montgomery. None of them got what they were projected, like the media projections, and I get those are guesstimates, and but oftentimes the media comes in way under. Like Jung Ho Lee's estimate for the media, he got way more than people thought he was going to get. Yoshinobu Yamamoto got way more. Shohei Ohtani got way more than people thought he was going to get. But all of Boris's clients, they got way less than everybody thought they were going to get.
Yo, is Boras there? Just sniff if he is. So good, man. So good. Yeah, we'll see what happens to Boras Corp. But yeah, that's a tough offseason for those guys. And he's, finally time to pay the piper for
Good
that.
for Jordan, though, that can't be an easy thing to step up and do. You're going to get some attention for it. So that's don't and do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Don't Do This brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. I may go to the Craft Taco later today. Shelly and I were thinking we need to do a happy hour somewhere on a Friday. Maybe the Craft Taco is the place to be
good
tonight.
Spot to go.
See how it works out the rest of my Friday. All right, when we come back, Kevin Charity, our friend from Mad Friars, how are Padres doing in the minor leagues? The early start to the AAA, AA, Single A season for the San Diego Padres prospects. We'll get an update coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So the Padres have only made one move so far this season, correct? From the minor leagues, calling up Brett Sullivan from AAA and sending Graham Pauley back down to AAA, where I believe yesterday he had 2 home runs for the El Paso Chihuahuas. Now, the offensive numbers we've said before in AAA are not necessarily comparable to what you're going to do in the major leagues, and you have to take those with a grain of salt. But I approved of that move, Woods, because I thought Graham Pauley needs to be getting at-bats, not sitting on the bench with the San Diego Padres. So he'll be getting those at-bats right now. But we wanted to take a little deeper look at the Padres minor league system as we get started here in the 2024 season. We're going to check traffic when we come back. Kevin Charity from Mad Friars is going to join us with a kind of a level-by-level breakdown of what the Padres have set up here for 2024. So that's coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a collision on southbound 15 before Via Rancho Parkway. A couple vehicles involved there over to the right shoulder. Other than that, no incidents or accidents mentioned at this time. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
MadFriars.com does an excellent job of covering each level of the Padres minor league system, the top prospects, the top 30 list every single year. And Kevin Charity has for many years been our go-to correspondent from MadFriars.com when we want to talk Padres in the minor leagues. He joins us right now here on Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Kevin, good morning. Happy baseball season to you.
Yeah, same to you guys. Glad to be on.
Good to have you, man. Where do you want to start, Benjamin?
Let's go down from the top because we just mentioned Graham Pauley back at AAA, but AAA has turned into it's not. It used to be the last stop before you get to the big leagues, and Kevin, that's not necessarily the case anymore. Especially when you look at the El Paso roster, there are some guys that we've seen in the big leagues before who could be called up again, but when you're looking for top prospects, El Paso's not the place you're going to look for them.
Yeah, the El Paso roster is kind of a collection of players that have had some big league experience, like Oscar Mercado, Mason McCoy, that type of thing. Position player-wise, the only two players, now with Paulie down there, he's really the only guy I would consider a top prospect. You're not going to get a lot of if you're looking for the top talent in the system, it's definitely not in AAA. It's become I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's just a byproduct of where the guys they have in their system are at. But it's just this kind of collective hodgepodge of 4A players, guys that, have had chances before. But it's definitely, I would say, from looking at the rosters, it's the least compelling version, but obviously it's going to get attention because it's the closest level of the big leagues for sure.
And there's a couple of guys there. One that you had in your top 20 list, Randy Vasquez, came over in the Juan Soto deal. How has he been looking? Tough place to pitch, but how's he been looking, and do you foresee him making a jump here anytime soon?
Well, the thing, again, when you look at El Paso is I've learned one of the things I look at over like ERA and hits is like kind of walk to strikeout ratio. And so when you look at Vasquez in his first 2 starts in that regard, he's only walked 1 batter in like 7 or 8 innings. Last year in the Yankees in AAA, he averaged about 4.5 walks per 9 innings. So based on that, you've seen some improvement. Now, when you look at the ERA, it's over 8. He's given up 13 hits in 7.1 innings. But, he gave up a home run that wouldn't even be classified as a hard hit ball because the exit velocity on it was like 90 miles an hour. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. But based on, he's got a great curveball, 94 mile an hour fastball. He's been consistent with his velocity. So yeah, when you look at the numbers and you look at the box score, it doesn't look pretty, but you can definitely see, like, to me, looking at parts of both of his starts, he's pitched pretty well. And I think logically looking at kind of how their 40-man roster is, and he's obviously being stretched out. He started the Korea series in the bullpen. He threw 4 innings his last start, so he should be someone that if they need a starter and they need to go to the minors to get it, I would imagine he would be probably at or near the top of the list.
It's funny because when we did our roundtable yesterday, Tony Gwynn Jr., we were talking about maybe who potentially could come up. And, I thought, well, Jeremiah Estrada, I think, has been throwing pretty well. And Tony Gwynn Jr. said, look, when you call somebody up, the number one most important thing for those guys is to be able to find the zone. Coming in, and walking guys is going to kill you. And that's actually encouraging for Randy Vasquez. Is that, in your opinion, is that something they probably look at the most? Like hard hit balls and walks per 9?
I would imagine so, because, I mean, a perfect example last year is Pedro Avila, who I believe had an ERA of like 8.5 in El Paso last year and pitched really well down the stretch. Now, the difference between him and, say, Vasquez is Avila did struggle with control last year, and I don't know if that's a byproduct of the environment of trying to stay out of the zone, because the PCL is just really unforgiving. And so I think, yeah, for a guy like that struggled with command, that was kind of the thing that was going to keep him from starting, and that was like the question mark. Can he throw enough strikes to be a mid-rotation starter, at least out of the gate the first 2 starts? He's accomplished that. And so, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what criteria they use. I mean, that's a really good question for like their development guys, and something we definitely should ask them again just to get hopefully a definitive answer on that. But yeah, I think you have to look at beyond ERA, because there's guys that have ERAs of 5 and 6 in El Paso and then have come up to the big leagues and have pitched pretty well.
One more thing on El Paso quickly. I did see that after missing all or at least most of spring training, Jay Groom is back, and I get into my head say the same thing. Stop trying to make Jay Groom happen. It's not going to happen
with Jay Groom.
But there have been players who you give up on, and all of a sudden they figure it out in the minor leagues. Is there any sign that Jay Groom, who they got in the Eric Hosmer trade with the Red Sox, could ever be a pitcher on the big league level, like coming up still?
Yeah, I think, the fact that he's on the 40-man roster gives him an advantage over a lot of guys. He still had pretty abbreviated outings. I think he's thrown a couple innings each time out. His velocity hasn't been amazing, but his command's been a lot better. The issue with him last year is he just was all over the place. His stuff wasn't as sharp as it was. He pitched really well when he came over from Boston in 2022, and last year was really just a horrible year for him. So there's some signs, like he's pitched a lot better this year in the limited outings. I think as he gets stretched out more here in the next couple of outings, he'll still be a guy to watch. His velocity's been like low 90s. When he's been at his best, he's been kind of that 94, 95 range. So that'll be something to watch as he gets stretched out, as he gets kind of shakes off the rust, because like you said, like he had injuries in the spring, but he hasn't done anything this year to really get further off the radar. I just would like to see him get stretched out and get a little bit more consistency in the zone. And I think just, again, because he's on the 40-man roster, he's got a shot.
Talking to our pal Kevin Charity from Mad Friars, the AA San Antonio Missions, chock full of talent down there. A lot of people think, look, if there are call-ups to be made this year, there's some names, Robbie Snelling being one of. He's only 20 years old, went up, 3 levels last year. Is he a guy that you expect is going to make that jump this year? And then, you've got Adam Mazur threw really well, I think, last night. And then you've got some sticks down there as well, like Jacob Marcy and Martorella. So is that where the Padres are probably going to be looking to pull from this year?
If I was a betting man, I would say yes, because like in AAA, it really just depends on what you want. Do you want a guy like Oscar Mercado, who's in AAA, who's got big league experience, has had success, but he hasn't really had success recently? Is kind of that like quintessential 4A type player. At least that's what he's been the past few years. But I think if you're going to like what they've actually invested in their farm system, I think AA is where it's going to be at. And a guy like Snelling, his best case scenario last year, I thought was getting to Fort Wayne by the end of the year, and he surpassed that. And it wasn't just because they were rushing him; it's just because he was way too good for Lake Elsinore. Pretty much the same in Fort Wayne. And AA, at least his first start, he kind of struggled with his command a little bit. He walked 3 in like 4 innings. So his command in AA, since he's been pitching that level last year and just the beginning part of this year, hasn't been as sharp. But the thing about him is he's still just 20 years old. He'll get better. He'll figure things out. He's got that kind of bulldog mentality that you want. He's really intense. I think he's someone that can help him out. But like what you said, Adam Mazur has been probably the season's only a week old. He's only started 2 games, but like last night, he had 9 ground outs. He's a guy that has 3 pretty good pitches: his curveball, his changeup, his fastball. He's missing bats this year, but the thing with him is he averaged less than 2 walks per 9 innings last year, and he's walked one guy in, I believe, 11 innings this year. So he fills up the zone, and his strikeout ratio, at least out of the gate, has improved. And I think if I'm looking at like Double-A, that is where I'm starting. If I had to bring up a pitcher from Double-A, it'd probably be him. And then Martarola is another guy that really, assuming when Manny gets healthy and can play third, he's a guy from the farm system that fits the roster perfectly. He's a left-handed first baseman, DH type. But the thing that's impressive with him is, in addition to the power that he has, he's only struck out 3 times in about 35 plate appearances to start the season. So he's making consistent contact. He's hitting for power. And he's 23, so he's not necessarily like a 19-year-old that they drafted in high school. He's a college bat. He looked really sharp out of the gate. So he's someone that has been really encouraging to watch.
Just quickly, Kevin, do you think that the fact that Jackson Merrill has looked so comfortable in center field already, does that change the prospect track for Jacob Marcy at all, who was kind of the center field guy, was getting a strong look in spring training, sent back down? Is he still coming up as center fielder, or is he now kind of blocked there and is going to have to look at the corners of the outfield?
It's a great question, because I don't know what the composition of the roster will look like in the future, because obviously Kim's a free agent next year. And is there a situation where they kind of move Merrill back into short? But he's played really well. He surpassed my expectations. I mean, I thought he'd hold his own offensively, but my concern is you're putting a guy into a big league center field who's never really played there before, at least in game action, and he's been impressive. I would think, assuming you look at Merrill's stats over a full year, and if he has a great season and is an above average center fielder, making league minimum, I don't know why you'd mess with that. So I think for Marcy, I think he maybe can slide over to the left. I think his bat, he's not going to have a big power bat. He's going to be more of a speed contact guy. And he struggled out of the gate to start the year, but we're 6 games into it. It's nothing to really be concerned about. But yeah, I would imagine, my thought process would be if you leave Merrill in center field, yeah, you can make him in left and give him a full season of at bats. Even maybe he's next year is more of like a fourth outfielder type. They can, give him positional flexibility. He hits left-handed, so I think there's a lot of options with him.
Last one for me, Casey. Just wanted to Kevin Charity from Mad Friars joining us this morning. Ethan Salas, can't do an update without talking about Ethan Salas down in what? He's in low A right now?
High A.
High A. He's in high A
but
right now.
He was a double A last year.
He was a double A, finished the year there. What are we hearing about him? I've seen a couple highlights, ripping singles, stealing bags and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But what do you think their plans are with him?
Yeah, I think, first of all, sending him to high A was the right move after last year. It's kind of a weird thing because it felt like they were easing him into professional baseball, and then they just kind of, put the foot to the floor and just really rushed him up to double A, in my opinion. So I think out of the gate in high A, he's hit safely, I believe, in the first 3 or 4 games. Fort Wayne's had some weather issues, so they've only played 1 game this week. But he played really well in their opening series on the road. He got a couple of big hits. He got a big knock in the 9th inning. Dumped a single in the left field. But for him, yeah, I think it'll be an interesting challenge for him because the weather in the Midwest League at this time of the year it can be kind of all over the place. So I think having to kind of maybe battle something he hasn't done before is a really good challenge. But out of the gate, he swung the bat really well. And I think just letting him get those everyday at bats at catcher, really play, even at 17, he's still insanely young for the Midwest League. So I think they've done a really good job of kind of letting him get into that role. And I expect that he'll put up really solid offensive numbers there. He's improving his catching behind the plate. So he's looked really solid out of the gate.
And then just quickly, I know they made the switch a couple of years ago where Lake Elsinore is now the low single A. Makes it a little harder to identify the prospects there, and it's the team that's closest to us here, obviously. But is there anything other? I know Dylan Head's there. Is there anything else to be looking for?
He's the guy. If you look at our top 20 list, he's the only person on the top 20 who made the list. We expect DeVries to be up there at some point. We kind of heard rumblings that he might have cracked the opening day roster, but he obviously didn't. Dylan Head's a guy that was in high school last year, and so I think you have to kind of back off the numbers a little bit with him just because he is really, really young, but he plays an incredible defensive center field. I love guys like him that have that just premium athleticism that can just roam the center field. Playing defense in Lake Elsinore is really tough because they have the left center there is huge. So he's been running ball. He ran a ball down last week and looked really good there. Outside of him, you have Jay Bashir, who they drafted last year out of Duke, second year in a row that they drafted a Duke infielder, obviously Paulie being the one before that. And he's swung the bat really well. And Romeo Sanabria, who's a first baseman, DH type guy, has swung the bat really well, kind of a late round pick they had a few years ago. Outside of that, I mean, it's a hodgepodge of some college guys and some undrafted guys. But if you're going to a game up there, those are probably the three guys you'd want to watch.
Kevin, really appreciate
Thank
the
you, buddy.
early season update. Padres in the minor leagues from MattFriars.com. Kevin Charity, appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, interesting stuff there, especially when you think about it. I mean, I know you can't just say Jackson Merrill is now your center fielder of the future forever and ever. They could move him back to the infield at any point. But if you feel comfortable with him out there, it also makes, and I saw this point in the chat, guys like Jacob Marcy, Dylan Head, Homer Bush, if you needed to trade for someone, all of a sudden you now have more depth in the outfield than you thought you had based on how Jackson Merrill has adjusted to the outfield.
I'm definitely down to stop moving guys every year. I think that would be probably a good...
Positionally?
Positionally, yeah.
All right, we have more baseball talk on the way with our Friday conversation with our friends from Cespedes Family Barbecue. That'll kick off the second half of Ben and Woods next here on 97.3 The Fan.
Halfway home on a Friday. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan, great to be here with you. Love talking Padres baseball with you every single day. Series against the Dodgers starts tonight. Excited about that. Watching with the family. Probably be doing a lot of pacing and cursing as usual. Anytime, against any team. It's not Dodger specific. It's pretty much the way I watch baseball games at this point in my life. Woodsy, that's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And Benjamin, we have a busy rest of the show.
We do. We are an hour away from our manager's report. Mike Shildt will join us as the Padres get ready to take on those Dodgers tonight. But right now, in our YouTube stream and on the air, we are joined by our friends from Cespedes Family Barbecue, their weekly visits presented by our other friends at Grand Ole Barbecue. And we've got both Jordan and Jake with us this morning from Cespedes Family Barbecue. You guys looking like Friday fresh today. Good morning to both of you.
I feel like $1 million, or in other words, the Padres payroll.
Come on already. The first appearance of the year.
Come on.
You know. Thank you, Jordan, for not taking early shots.
Listen,
this morning.
listen. I wanted to make sure we could do this here today. Jake now has to settle into the Friday cadence.
Yes.
I know we started things off with me last week, but I'm excited to be here. I know we'll probably generally be alternating, but I figured we're still early in the season. We wanted to show that we can, both be in the same place at once, and excited to talk some ball.
Well, I will point out.
I'll
point out to Jake that even though the Padres payroll was reduced by nearly 9 figures in the offseason, that according to Jordan's piece at Yahoo Sports, the Padres playoff odds have just gone up since the start of the season, and they're closing in on 50-50 playoff odds here. So they must be doing something right to spend that little money and, be headed in the right direction toward the playoffs, Jordan.
Well, you can thank the Fangraphs calculations for that more than me personally. Who, of course, I was merely observing as much as I was, spreading the good news. But I don't know. So many of the teams at this stage. I mean, of course, we have a couple teams where it's like, yeah, we're bad, and then teams are like, yeah, we're good. Padres are right in the middle, and a long way to go before we figure that out.
It's funny.
We don't know.
We don't
know anything, and guess what? That's okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely okay. I mean, there's a couple of surprises, though. I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised to see the Houston Astros at 4-10 right now. I'm surprised to know that the Oakland Athletics have actually won more games than the Houston Astros. What I saw Hunter Brown's stat line last night. One of the worst you'll ever see. I felt terrible for the kid because I know he's got good stuff. Just one of those days in the big leagues he'd like to forget. But what's gone wrong down in Houston?
So you've obviously heard of a sack bunt and a sack fly. Hunter Brown yesterday was a sack lamb, where you leave him out there to sponge up the pain, and he couldn't even get into the third inning, I believe. The Houston Astros are not this second inning. Second inning. The Houston Astros are not this bad. Sorry, everybody. They're not. They may not be the juggernaut they were a handful of years ago, but they're not the quality of a 4-10 team. That's just small sample size in the early season. However, we talked about this on our podcast today. Like, there's reasons to be concerned about the Astros internally. That front office is not what it once was. And I think we feel more pessimistic about them in the next couple of seasons. That being said, there's so much talent on this team, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. I have faith that they're going to get their pitching in order in due time.
You're talking about a team, too, that has a no-hitter this season, and Ronel Blanco has thrown how many innings of scoreless baseball, and that was a complete surprise. And but, yeah, I mean, they still got Yordan Alvarez. They still got Altuve, who's hitting the ball well. You feel like it's a matter of time. But I like what you said about the organization being a little bit different, which can absolutely affect play on the field. And so far to this point, I think it has.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's just been a really interesting development there in Houston as they've continued to win, even amongst all this turnover where, they fire their GM or part ways with their GM, fresh off of winning World Series. And now it's a group, led by Dana Brown, who's, of course, has plenty of experience in a front office. But with all due respect to Dana Brown, who I hope still has significant say in what's going on there, the sure, Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio being friends with the owner and wanting to make stuff happen. That's just, Reggie Jackson is like very much in the inner circle, and listening to Reggie Jackson, go on podcasts and radio and talk about we and us and we are thinking about this. I'm like, Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson.
He like is defining himself by how he thinks about like the Astros bullpen moves. This is like so bizarre. But yeah. So again, and of course, there's value in having legends of the game are in and around. Every organization has special assistants in those roles,
sure.
But it really does seem like in Houston they have significant influence. And we'll see. I mean, I think that some parts of this roster are kind of front office proof, but I think that we'll see over the next few years as they kind of move into a new window, even though a lot of the guys are the same. I think that's when we'll really find out kind of what they're made of internally.
Talking to Jordan
Ready
Schuster.
for an absolutely flaming take. Next decade, Oakland A's or wherever they go, more wins than the Astros from now until 10 years.
That is a bold proclamation, and we'll revisit
the
that.
ownership's not changing, right? With the A's, it's the same owner.
Correct.
That's going to be a problem. Yeah. Jordan Schusterman, Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue are with us, and again, you can't make too much of the early season standings, but if you look at the teams that have really gotten off to a hot start, there's the 10-win teams, the Dodgers, the Yankees. But they're winning some close games. They're not dominating. The teams that have actually really dominated to start the year are both in the AL Central. The Guardians and the Royals, guys. Is there anything to be gleaned from the start from those two teams? Like, did we miss on something with either of those two clubs?
I think Cleveland is less of a surprise. I mean, this is a team that won their division a couple years ago. They have players that I think we really believe in. We know, again, talking about infrastructure, we know, especially on the mound there, even with the injury to Bieber, we kind of know that they're going to find ways to get outs and play good defense. So that is less of a surprise, although their offense has certainly, I think, been better than we expected. Kansas City's total overhaul, particularly on the mound, and we knew they brought in new personnel, but to go from what has consistently been one of the worst pitching staffs that we've seen to now what has statistically been one of the best. And when you watch it, it's like it doesn't seem like a fluke. I mean, not only have some of the guys that were already there, like Brady Singer and Alec Marsh, look so much better, but Lugo and Waka have looked good. Reagan's, of course, has gotten a lot of hype coming into the season. But for them, it's just going to be about, can you get enough offensive support around a legitimate MVP candidate in Bobby Witt Jr., which is such a great place to start with an organization, to have someone in place like that it doesn't it's not hard to stretch and be like, oh no, like they're pretty good. Are they best run differential in baseball good? I doubt it. But there's an opportunity in this division still, especially with Minnesota's slow start.
Talking to the boys from Cespedes Family Barbecue this morning, and I wanted to get your take, Jake. I know I listened to your podcast that you guys did, your emergency podcast, when all of the Shohei news broke. I thought you guys handled it really well.
What happened? Wait, what happened?
and yesterday we had our 97.3 The Fan roundtable. When we got out of the roundtable, I was seeing people in the chat say, oh man, these guys are in for a surprise when they walk out of the room. And we were. And the report was released. We talked about it this morning. It's not. I buy it. I mean, I absolutely buy it that this guy's head was in the clouds, that he had no idea that he was being pilfered from. Where do you guys stand kind of on this as you read it today or yesterday?
So two things. We did our whole show on this morning. Like before you come to the table with a take, read the report.
Yeah.
Do not come to class having not done the homework. I do not want to hear what you have to say unless you've looked at the actual evidence. Okay. And if you want to sit here and not believe the report, then like I can't have a rational conversation with you. Like the IRS is not looking to cover up for Shohei Ohtani. Okay, let's be real about that. And so when you read all the information, what you get is a very clear yet unbelievable, like wild story about how this could have happened. And so I sit here on April 12th feeling bad for Ohtani and viewing him, as he is called in the report, victim A.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I fall on it too. And it's a tough thing to read, but I think that for all the chaos of how the story began with the conflicting stories, which now we understand was clearly Ippei in like full-blown panic mode, right? And it's, again, when you read the report and the investigation and them saying, like, explaining why they don't believe the original accounts were credible, why they don't believe, like, they reviewed everything they can. So if you want to choose to still buy whatever conspiracy or fall guy thing, like I can't really help you. At this stage, it's just like a sad story of betrayal. It is a shocking story that is a lot to, process, but that's kind of where we're at with it.
Do we know what?
And we have all the evidence. We have all the receipts. Like,
text messages and whatnot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like to me, the important fact is we have evidence of eBay texting the bookie, all kinds of stuff,
all kinds,
and then we have zero evidence in like 9,000 pages worth of texts between Ipe and Ohtani over 4 years. Zero evidence of them communicating about anything related to gambling.
What is he?
And so, like,
what's he facing? Does anybody know? Have we heard
30 years, something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine there's like, this is one of those things where this is the next stage. I mean, in some ways it feels like we have some closure with this story, but he's pleading guilty. He's going to surrender and he's going to face, up 30 years. I mean, I imagine there's different levels of literally how much money, and then how you were, falsely impersonating someone, how you were actually stealing. Like, there's so many levels to this that it's going to be.
I think the bank fraud is actually one of the.
It's going to take 30 years in prison for his friend. Like,
yeah,
okay,
not 30 years. As bad as it is to steal as much as he did, it's actually not the steal. I mean, the stealing's bad. But the bank fraud is what they really get you for when you are
and that's
like dealing
on the headline of the report
with our banking system. Yeah, the fun.
They got Capone. They got Capone for tax evasion.
Yep, and
now they may get Shohei for tax evasion at some point in California. I know they are looking. They may Capone. That's a totally different.
So I've read through the report, or at least the details of the report, and I do believe everything in there. The one thing that I find the most amazing, it tells a story of Ipe Mizuhara just getting more and more desperate, and the steps that he goes as he continues just to sink into this addiction oblivion. But throughout all of it, throughout the betrayals and the lies to so many people, the one rule that he would not violate is, I will not bet on a baseball game.
They had a meeting about it in spring training. I know not to do that.
Should they have had a meeting about, also don't steal $16 million from the guy you're translating for?
Then he wouldn't have done it.
Maybe he would have not done that too.
It wasn't covered in spring training.
I totally understand like the incredulousness of he did all these things. How did he not cross that line? But again, the IRS reported going through all of the specific bets that Ipe made, and found no evidence of baseball. And if MLB is paying the IRS off to lie on this report, and that comes out in 3 years, well, I'll have egg on my face.
Yeah,
okay?
no, I mean, it's not in there though.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I'll put 6 G's on Duke women's soccer, but will not put $20 on the Dodgers to lose or win.
I was at that meeting. They said we can't do it. I'm not going to do it here.
They didn't say anything about women's college soccer.
Has to have a code.
Got to have a code. It's so good. It's incredible. Well, thank you guys very much, man. Keep up the great work. All the stuff that you're doing, your podcast, your writing is always our favorite. Thanks so much for jumping on with us.
And Woods, remember, when you steal $16 million from Ben, just ask first. Okay?
I will. He would give it to me. That's the thing. He would give it to me. I wouldn't have to steal
Be respectful, and everything's okay.
Exactly
guys, have a great weekend.
Thanks,
we'll talk to you next week. That is Jordan and Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue, presented by our friends at Grand Ole Barbecue. One is a real barbecue with things like Texas brisket. The other is a baseball website, podcast group, and just two guys who cover the sport who are named after a fictional like family barbecue.
That's right.
Just to keep that very, very clear. The one thing he would not do. And when he gave the interview, remember, to ESPN, he said no. He would not. I would not bet on baseball. No, I would not do such a thing.
As like someone that likes to put bets on games, if I had inside info about it, would be the only thing I bet on. If I got constant inside,
if you're that desperate and you actually do have inside info on the one sport, obviously you're a horrible sports bettor who has just been losing millions and millions. But there's one sport where you actually know.
You're around
what's kind of going on, and you're around it.
Like
but you actually would not bet on that sport.
You're in the dugout when you're with the Angels, and you're like, damn, dude, that guy is hung over. I know he's got a pulled quad because I saw him on the trainer's table. I know this pitcher is really on his last legs. I'm going against him. I mean, that's the thing
You
to
got a
me.
phone, I'll just go,
boom, it's right here. Let me get $5,000 on the, Tigers to beat this starting pitcher.
I need to dig myself out of this hole that I'm in.
That to me, and I'm not saying I don't believe it. I'm just saying that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. That I don't want to praise him for his discipline, but you know what I'm saying?
No, of course not.
That is something else, man.
All right, we will take a timeout. Don't forget, Mike Shildt, the manager's report, coming up at 9 o'clock today. We'll do an early Rindle report as well.
Should we do that surprise for him next?
A surprise?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we'll do the surprise. We have a surprise for you.
Okay.
Something we used to do on Fridays.
That's
Quite a bit.
And this one, we need this. So
Okay.
Yeah.
That's coming up next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan, back after a check of traffic. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for 97.3 The Fan's commercial-free Padres Roundtable featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elston, and Gwen and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza.
I thought you were going to say Roundtable, simply the best.
Simply the best.
What a point we just got via text. When Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue, we were just talking about this, and when he texted to Paulie, I went, oh, man, okay, good point.
Says, a point I forgot to make. The bookie probably didn't let Ipe bet on baseball.
Correct.
Why would the bookie let Ipe gamble on baseball if the bookie knew he had information?
Very smart.
Hadn't really
I
put
did
those
not
two
make
together.
that connection
Makes
either.
perfect sense.
Counterpoint. Why did Pete Rose's bookie let him gamble on the Reds all the time?
Yeah, and do it to win.
Yeah.
Maybe because he liked having Pete Rose on his roster and like being buddies with him, and maybe he just also thought that the Reds sucked and he was throwing his money away. You know what I mean? Like, it's true, bro. What's the worst team in baseball? Probably our beloved Marlins. And if Skip wanted to bet on the Marlins, somebody might take that action.
It's such a point that I had never really considered from any perspective. But when you put it on the Pete Rose story, you would never let someone, if you knew who they were, you would never let them bet against their own team if you were a bookie. Like Pete Rose is gambling against the Reds tonight,
not
and
taking
he's
that
the manager.
action.
I'm not going to take that action. Are you crazy, Pete?
He's
You're
got
betting
Eric
against your team.
He's got Eric Davis pitching. He's bats him ninth.
No chance I'm taking that bet,
bro. That's true. Zach says, well, it's the 70s and also 80s. Yeah, I mean, it's true.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, things have changed.
Things have changed.
We've advanced, and gambling is a lot more prominent now, sports betting, and so maybe that had something to do with it.
Well, we need to do this, and Ben had no idea we were doing it, and we need this for reasons. So it's been a while since we've done it, and I missed it, and it was time to bring it back.
I'm so surprised that I have these ready. Is there no open or anything?
No, we need this.
We need it kind of dry and
just dry. I don't know. Hold on, I got to put on my Kangol and my chains because apparently this is what's coming up right now.
It's been a while. I haven't seen you in the gear for
a
long
while.
Time. He's having a lot of trouble with the chains and the headphones. Okay.
All right, here we go.
I'm going to turn my mic.
Just dry. This is weird. I'm used to background music. I don't even know this is a rap. Here we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. I got a condo in Manhattan. Baby girl, what's happening? You and your ass invited, so go on and get to clapping. So pop it for a player, pop it for me. Turn around and drop it for a player, drop it for me. I'll rent a beach house in Miami. Wake up with no jammies. Nope. Lobster tail for dinner. Julio, serve that scampi. Julio, you've got it if you want it. Got it if you want it. Said, you got it if you want it. Take my wallet if you want it now. Jump in the Cadillac, girl. Let's put some miles on it. Anything you want, just put a smile on it. You deserve it, baby. You deserve it all, and I'm going to give it to you. Gold jewelry shining so bright. Strawberry champagne on ice. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Sex by the fire at night. Silk sheets and diamonds all white. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. I'm talking trips to Puerto Rico. Say the words and we go. Say it. You can be my freaka, Bert. Girl, I'll be your flico, mamacita. Never make a promise that I can't keep. I promise that your smile ain't gonna ever leave. Shopping sprees in Paris, everything 24 carats. Take a look in that mirror. Now tell me, who's the fairest? Is it you? Is it you? Is it me? Is it me? Say it's us. Say it's us, and I'll agree. Baby, jump in the Cadillac, girl. Let's put some miles on it. Anything you want, just put a smile on it. You deserve it, baby. You deserve it all, and I'm gonna give it to you.
Unbelievable. I forgot how much I love listening to you.
That's cold. That's cold. No practice. No read-throughs.
Well done, sir.
That was brilliant. And I think you know why we need some of that.
There were a couple of lines, but...
Well, the lines are always great.
Oh.
Paulie can pull... Yeah!
I like...
That song is called That's What I Like.
That's what I like.
Can we get Mike Shildt to read that later this morning as well?
I would actually do anything to have Mike Shildt read that. That's what I like. So good. Thank you for that, because we needed...
Sex by the fire at night. That's what I like.
Who doesn't? Actually, I don't. I don't think I would.
So that's Bruno Mars.
Yeah. It's more of a pop song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like he's He's treating a girl to a very nice time.
Silk sheets?
Yeah.
Lobster? Lobster?
Cadillac.
Waking up with no jammies?
Waking up with no jammies? I mean, that sounds like a fantastic...
You wake up with no jammies sometimes.
Sometimes. It's rare. Well, I don't wear jammies. I just wear underwear. But I don't... Sex by the fire is a little...
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous. It's hot, also. It feels like it only happens...
Like on a bearskin rug?
Bearskin rug? Yeah.
You ever...
That's very hot.
Bearskin rug? No.
No. You?
No.
Rug? Sure.
Rug?
Yeah. Not a bearskin by a fire. I don't think I would like it.
Like work carpet or like a more comfortable rug?
Like home carpet.
Just normal carpeting.
Carpet. Just normal carpet.
Regular carpet.
Yeah, just regular.
How about hardwood floor?
Hardwood floor. Sure. Yeah. I think so.
Couch.
Oh, yeah. Car?
Car.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my favorite. Always afraid of getting arrested.
Is it a crime?
Yes. You
Definitely?
can't have your wiener out
in a car.
In a car. Correct.
What if no one can see it, though?
I think you still get in trouble if you're in
indecent exposure.
It's indecent exposure, is it not?
I don't know. If you're like, if the windows are tinted and
is there
you're
a police officer listening? You can call us
private
at
area.
833-288-0973. If you caught Ben in the car making love, would you arrest him? Wouldn't that be something? Getting arrested for that?
Go to like Lovers Lookout, like you
like
drive
the Point.
The Point.
Yeah. 50s must have been awesome. What are we doing tonight? Let's go to the Point. All right. Sounds good. What's there to do at the Point?
I just can't. In the movies, there's always like 7 cars
all
parked
which
up there.
That's also
and
a little
what
weird.
They're all kind of doing. That's weird.
That is weird to me. A little privacy, as it were.
Yes.
All right. Well, now that we've gotten all that taken care of, how about we move on to a Rydell report? Paulie going to get some headlines. I did have some big college basketball news breaking overnight. I think we might have that in there. It's all coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Wood says this could be construed as Dodger loving.
What's that?
The fact that Max Homa is tied for the lead now.
Yeah, 100%.
At the Masters through 4 holes, second round, 7 under par, tied with Bryson DeChambeau, who will tee off later. Scotty Scheffler also teeing off later this morning in the second round, which is underway at Augusta National. Those 3 are 2 shots clear of the rest of the field at the top of the leaderboard on a Friday at the Masters, first major of the year. Max Homa, noted Dodger fan, though.
Not a fan. Not a big Max Homa guy.
If he wasn't a Dodger fan, I probably would be okay with Max Homa.
Maybe.
But it hurts things a little bit that he is a huge Dodger fan. And now,
Hey, Max Homa and Adam Scott, can I get a
God. On Friday, it was going so well until you played. Look at the hair on my arm, dude. It's standing straight up.
Max Homa!
God, I hate how she says it.
Can I get a
is that still a thing, or is that moved on?
I think she's moved on.
We've moved on from that.
She's been shamed enough.
All right,
and for good reason.
We're going to move on to Now that's cute.
That's cute.
That
They don't
is
even
cute.
do They don't
Hey,
even,
Max Homa and Adam
they don't
Scott,
do it anymore.
Can I get a
They don't do it anymore.
It's not the same.
They've moved on. They do sing Big Bomba Class all the time. Though. They just scream it in the house.
Big Bomba Class before busting on me head.
Nothing makes me happy. Literally. We just all scream it around my house.
All right, let's move on.
That's the Woods family war.
Yeah, Big
cry.
Bomba Class, I don't want to give you it. It's
Big Bomba Class before busting on me head.
It instantly puts me in a bad. It's the antidote to the, oh, yeah. Oh, it's great.
We're going to move on with a little Rindle report right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Well, guys, I haven't mentioned a ladder in lanes for a while here, but looks like our Cordell and Cordell traffic cam sees one on westbound 8 just before the 15. It's in the right lane. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right, let's see, gentlemen. You know, we've been talking a lot about sports betting over the last
Yes, we have.
several
We
weeks,
have.
but especially today. Saw a story here. I saw this yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, and I just wanted to read into it a little bit more before we talked about it. So there is a guy, Frank Chamizo. He is a Cuban immigrant who is a professional wrestler, not that kind of wrestling, Ben, like actual, like on the mats wrestling.
Like Greco-Roman.
Like what they do at Iowa in college.
Right.
Yes.
Wrestling.
He is a world champion, a 2-time wrestling world champion.
Am I a moron that I didn't know that it went to professional? I know it was like Olympics.
Olympics.
I didn't know
He's-
there was a
Yeah.
professional.
Well,
He's
like a league?
He's won a gold medal or a bronze medal.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
you know,
World
like,
championships.
I mean, like gymnastics, outside the Olympics, they have their world championships
Okay.
every year.
There's not like a wrestling
figure
league,
skating. I don't know if there's a league, but they
Right.
have like
Okay.
tournaments, and you advance to the national championships, and then if you're good enough, you get it to advance to the world championships.
Carry on.
So this guy, Frank, he is a Cuban immigrant, but he wrestles for Italy and has, I think, citizenship there.
Okay.
That's where he wrestles. And he was participating last week at the European Olympic qualifying tournament.
Big one.
And he claims that he turned down a bribe
Oh, boy.
of $300,000 to throw a match. Now, he lost that match. It says he lost a controversial semifinal match, partially due to a disputed late call, Don't need to get into the particulars there, but he lost.
We couldn't if we tried.
Yeah, exactly. And his quote was, "I knew that I had to give double, triple because I was fighting in their country and they had brought everyone. He claims in an interview, it was picked up. He's like, I did it, but then something happened that has echoes of wrestling many years ago. So I want to say it. They came to me and offered me $300,000 to lose.
The mysterious
I don't want to say who, but it happened on the morning of the weigh-in.
I'm calling BS.
Really?
He says he turned down the bribe because, quote, I don't only represent myself, but also Italy. It's not easy to break my integrity.
Here's why. And give Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue a little credit for pointing out things that we don't think about that should be fairly logical. When he said, well, I mean, there's probably a reason that Ipe Mizuhara didn't bet on baseball is because the bookie wouldn't take baseball. Let's think about this. All right, you're going to pay someone $300,000 to lose a wrestling match. That inherently means what? You're going to bet a lot more on the guy who's going to win the wrestling match.
Yes.
Is there anywhere that is not going to raise every single red flag when all of a sudden, I mean, you're not just doing this for yourself so you can make $350,000 on your, so you're telling a bunch of people and all of a sudden $10 million in wagers come in on this one wrestling match that I can't imagine wrestling gets a ton of gambling action all the time. The jig would be up instantly. If you offered someone that much, you'd have to bet way too much to make it worth your while to bribe someone.
Now, what if it was for more than gambling? What if it was for
pride of country?
Yeah,
well, I guess that's
there's some rich-ass people out there. Like, if I was
I want this person to go to the Olympics
100%.
and I need you to lose to make it happen, that's probably more believable.
That's probably more likely
than a gambling actually situation.
Hey, that's interesting, though. Very interesting story.
Just given all the conversations we've had, I thought that was interesting. All right, we'll move on. There are reports that Major League Baseball would like to move away from the Sunday morning Peacock broadcasts. And somebody summed it up pretty well. Okay. NBC dropping MLB. ESPN wants to drop MLB after this season. 3 teams, regional cable providers have gone bankrupt. Broadcast moved to free streaming.
Very cool.
Bally's and Diamond, 12 more teams on the verge of bankruptcy. Rob Manfred killing baseball. Not a good time for the sport as far as the broadcast deals go, because I was never a huge fan of the Peacock Sunday morning. I love the Apple TV Plus.
So I saw this tweet from a guy named Fuzzy. On Twitter. MLB recaps MLB The Show. He's got 110,000 followers. This made sense to me. He said everyone's dropping MLB, which actually could be a good thing. I think Apple is about to buy a massive stake in Major League Baseball, go full force with ending blackouts. They'll 100% do that if it means getting Apple TV signups. Manfred ending blackouts could be his Hail Mary. I personally think the Apple TV telecasts have come a long way. Their image quality is insane. And if we can get blackout-free baseball on one single app, yes, please. That would be pretty amazing because, again, the broadcasters on there leave something to be desired sometimes.
It's hit or miss.
It's hit or miss, but the quality of that broadcast is the best I've ever seen.
Give me Don and Mud on the Apple TV broadcast, the visuals.
Have you noticed on Padres.TV this season that they've added some of those little factoids like that we were getting with the Apple Plus broadcasts last year as well.
100%.
Little value added. Now, the overall issue of broadcast rights, this is a problem, and baseball is kind of getting it first, but I would imagine most sports are going to start feeling the pinch. There was never any guarantee that rights fees would go up in perpetuity forever. And kind of the economic system of a lot of our professional sports were based on that exact fact. Well, we can just keep paying athletes more because we'll just get more in our broadcast deal the next time it rolls around. And that has been true for many, many years, that the broadcast rights have gone up and up and up because live sports, the one thing that people will actually watch live and you can have commercials on and you don't fast forward through, you're not streaming through it all. You actually have to watch the commercials, so they were valuable. But there is an upper limit to everything. And we're finding out that, Diamond Sports wasn't able to make it work in some markets anymore with what they were paying. And that's going to put some brakes on like other places. Like, we don't want to get in the same boat that Diamond Sports got themselves in, where we pay too much in rights fees. We couldn't make that money back, and now we're facing bankruptcy. So that's a reality that Major League Baseball is going to have to face going forward.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said Fuzzy is a Cleveland Guardians fan. That doesn't have much to do with it. I think the move, if there was going to be a significant stake in Major League Baseball from Apple, I think it's a good combo, at least for me. Listen, I know there are people out there like, I'm not getting Apple TV, or I don't have Apple TV, or whatever. The quality of the games is spectacular. I mean, it really is a better product for all of us to enjoy.
Yeah. All right, and then finally, I did not know that this actually happened in real life. I thought this was only in the movies, but something straight out of Castaway happened this week. The U.S. Navy and Coast Guard found and rescued 3 men on Tuesday from a tiny, an atoll. I think it's an atoll. Small little island.
Never heard of it.
An atoll. A-T-O-L-L.
You're an atoll sometimes.
You can be a real
You can
atoll.
be like nobody thinks you're an atoll.
It's an island made up of like a coral reef. It's an atoll.
You can be sometimes a huge, huge atoll.
I'm not an atoll.
You can be.
You can be.
You're a much bigger atoll.
There's
than
no
I
question. But you pretend that you're not an atoll, and everybody knows I'm an atoll. But you have some atoll qualities in you. What happened to
Are you
him?
get in trouble for that one? I don't know. We'll see.
Can't say anything.
We're talking about islands in the South Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Or
So were they like
3 men.
surfing or sailing?
No,
or?
they were stranded on a small atoll south of Guam, and they spent more than a week there. They were left stranded.
God, it's just like the movie.
So it's 3 men, all in their 40s. They set sail from Micronesia on March 31st in a small 20-foot boat, and powered by an outboard motor. According to news release, blah, 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 they had experience navigating these seas. Something was damaged. It didn't get into all the details exactly how, but they ended up on this island.
It was supposed to just be a 3-hour tour.
Oh, no.
A 3-hour tour.
Oh, my God.
They got shipwrecked, essentially.
Yeah. The weather started getting rough.
Again, they
the
set
tiny
sail.
ship was tossed.
I'm going to kill you. You atoll.
Such an atoll thing to do.
They set sail on March 31st. On April 6th, one of the relatives of the men reported that her 3 uncles had not returned, and they were approximately 115 miles northwest, blah, blah, blah. So they put out a search and rescue, and the Coast Guard was flying around, and they saw palm trees in the sand.
Crazy.
Written out the word help on the beach.
Just like the movie.
And they rescued them. They're all safe. They're home. They're good to go. And I go, huh.
They made it a week.
I guess
there it is. It's in the chat.
I
It's
guess
just
it
like the
happens,
movie.
but I just was like, that is a scene straight out of Castaway.
That's amazing.
Wouldn't SOS be shorter, easier to write?
The S's be hard.
They're
though.
tough too. Yeah.
Right? You get a lot of. This is really simple. Help is easy. It's more. The S
Straight lines?
Yeah.
I mean, the P should have a curve, but I
Right,
mean,
but
an
that's
S.
tough to do.
I mean, an S is an S, even if it's straight. Like it's a 5.
Then
and
they
that's-
might think it's
a
just 505. They're
Oh.
proud of their area code or something. We're repping the
We're
505.
505
on this
deserted island on this atoll.
Where is the 505, by the way? Does anybody know? I'm going to look it up real quick.
The lieutenant for the Coast Guard says,
Albuquerque, 505 in the house. They're like, hey, no, it's just 3 guys from Albuquerque.
shout out Albuquerque.
Shout out Albuquerque. Repping 619 on there.
Coast Guard lieutenant
505.
in a remarkable testament to their will to be found, the Mariners spelled out help on the beach using palm leaves, a crucial factor in their discovery. This act of ingenuity was pivotal in guiding rescue efforts directly to their location.
Man.
Did any of them have to perform dental surgery on themselves
with an ice skate?
Ice skate. Oh, God.
If you knew that you only had to survive a week, 1 week, I'm going to drop you off on Sunday, I'm going to pick you up on Sunday, but we're going to dump you on this island, would you do it? Just
1
to
week.
see if you could do it.
I mean, 1 week.
Do you have like the
if you
the
have some
emergency
provisions
helpline?
with you or no?
You have what the island has to offer.
I know, but like if 3 days in you're like, I can't do this, do they come early, or is it like life or death? Like you have to either make it all 7 days or see what happens.
You wouldn't die though in 7 days. I figure you could.
I guess I'd be worried about like where am I getting the fresh water
Yeah.
situation if I was going to be stranded. But if you have enough like provisions, it's pretty much a vacation at that point. Oh, roughing it vacation, but it's a week on a tropical island. Not the worst thing.
Yeah, I would sign up for it. 1 week, I think I would like to try it. Just one, though. But I knew you were
on an atoll.
I knew, on an atoll.
How much would it take for you to do that show, Naked and Afraid? You've seen that one on one of the Discovery channels where they have like
that one.
two people without clothes, without supplies, and they drop them off somewhere for like 3 weeks or whatever, and then they've just got to survive.
I don't know, man.
Honestly, it's the nudity.
Yeah.
It's not the I'm afraid to show my hog or anything. It's
like them wading through a river and not knowing what animals are in there.
Mosquitoes and stuff. Like, it's more of just like, that's just not comfortable.
Obviously, they're not completely alone. There's a camera crew with them as well, so they're not totally alone.
Right.
And if something happened, I'm sure they could radio for medical help.
I loved Bear Grylls. I know most of it was like a bit, but I don't care. It was entertaining. I missed that. Is that show's not on anymore? Is it? Sir, what was that show called? No,
not just Bear Grylls.
It was like Off the Grid. I can't remember, but I love that show. That was good. I like that kind of stuff, but not nude. Not nude.
Running
I don't
Wild?
Is that what it was? I don't want to sleep and walk around
They
all day
fashion
nude.
usually some clothes out of things
like
that they find.
Palm fronds and whatnot.
Co-
I need shoes and
coconuts
stuff.
and-
Yeah, coconut. The coconut bra. Oh, that's great stuff. Thank you, Paulie.
You're welcome.
I like the 505. 760 858.
They're 8 codes.
That would be
spelled
very
out on that
858 would be very hard to do.
deserted beach.
Now, Roberto says in the chat, Paulie would be the first to die of the three of us. I think Ben
Oh,
is
no,
going
on me,
first.
totally.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Paulie's
in my
very
mind.
resourceful, and I'm stubborn.
I may outlast both of you.
You might. You're more resourceful than I think both of us are, but I'm pretty stubborn. But you would just give up. You would die of shame.
Ben would
You
be like,
would
"I'm
just
out."
give up. He's like, that's it. I'm done.
I would die from a lack of luxury.
That's exactly right. Just be in hell.
Anyone?
You might enjoy the peace and quiet, though.
That's
for a
true.
couple days.
That's true.
You could probably sleep for 24 hours straight on a deserted island.
I've fallen asleep on a beach before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The warm sand and just enjoy the afternoon, the breezes of the ocean.
Somebody said Ben would definitely create a Wilson.
Would you eat Ben?
I think
if
we
I
all
died first.
I think we all would create a Wilson if we could on a deserted island.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? Somebody to talk to?
No. No.
All right. Was it Survivor Man? That's what it was called with Bear Grylls. That was
He's had a
great.
few shows, right?
That was great. Yeah, I would eat Ben. I would eat his calves. Delicious.
Meaty.
Like a turkey leg at the fair.
Yeah.
That's what it would look like. Me walking around the island.
Cook it over an open fire.
It'd be incredible. Incredible. All right, let's go to break. We got Skipper coming up next.
Yeah,
Get serious.
manager's report
Let's get
with
serious.
Mike Shildt as the Padres get set to start a 3-game series against the LA Dodgers. The first kind of real road trip. I know they went to San Francisco and I know they went to Korea, but Korea was different and San Francisco was just one series. Now they're going to LA, then they're going to Milwaukee. So the first kind of traditional standard road trip of the season for the San Diego Padres begins tonight up in LA, Chavez Ravine. First pitch just after 7. Eco Water SoCal pregame show with Sam Levitt just after 6 o'clock tonight here on 97.3 The Fan. But coming up next, it's our weekly manager's report, our conversation with the skipper, Mike Shildt, as we return for the final hour of Ben and Woods this week on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Just 3 atolls.
Yeah, 3 atolls. 1 cup.
Friday at 9 a.m., and that can mean only one thing. It is time for our Manager's Report. It is brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better. And joining us right now on Ben and Woods, the skipper of the San Diego Padres in L.A., facing the Dodgers tonight, Mike Shildt is with us. Skip, it's good to have you back on the show. Good morning.
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
We're good. We're good. And let's start since we talked to you last Friday. There was a bit of a notable comeback between then and now. What a game that was on Monday against the Cubs to fall behind like that and have your team come back. What was your perspective from the dugout to see that at Petco Park, see the crowd getting more and more excited as you went on that 7-run rally in the 6th inning, and then when Fernando Tatis Jr. hit the go-ahead home run and the place just went absolutely crazy. Just some of the manager's thoughts on that game.
Yeah, it was a special game, clearly. It was great that the fans were rightfully excited and into it and passionate as they are. Got some love themselves and some reward for their encouragement of us, and it was just fantastic the way the guys competed. And of course, Fernando put the final touch on it. But you're down 8-0, and guys could have easily gone, all right, just not our night, and cash it in. But really stepped up and competed regardless of circumstance, which is a great trait. And Crony got us going with a non-pitch homer. It was a great at bat, and kind of took it from there. It was a fantastic way to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Petco.
It was incredible. I mean, I was about to turn it in for the night. Got to get up early, 4:00 in the morning, and I said I'm gonna ride this one out, see if they show me anything. And boy, did they ever! Skip, wanted to ask you about the next night. Joe Musgrove and you, Darvish. I guess that night they've scuffled. Now it's hard, right? You're the manager, and you're like, oh man, we had a really nice run through the rotation. The rotation seeming to get locked in, and then you can't find it. Joe can't find it. You got to go to your bullpen early. How are those guys doing, and kind of what do you make of that?
Well, I make that the other side's trying to, and they just looked early on were sharp and just couldn't keep going. But what I make of it, not a whole lot in regards to the big picture of it. Joe's a stud, as we all know. He's a pro's pro and, accomplished guy. So both those guys are going to be just fine. They feel good, and they're chomping the bit for their next outing.
As fans, I think we tend to ride more of even an emotional roller coaster sometimes than you guys do or the players do. But one thing that was frustrating from our perspective last season was seemingly like, 12 runs, 2 runs, 8 runs, no runs, and saw a bit of it this week. Obviously it worked out. You guys bounced back with the big performance on Wednesday against the Cubs. Do you see anything there, though? Is there anything to, you call it a lack of consistency, or is that in your mind just kind of how baseball works?
I think that's more along the line. Look, we want to be as consistent as possible all the time. So let's start there. We want and expect to have a consistent offense that's going to be able to score, 4 to 5 runs every night, which more than puts you in a position on most nights to win games. So let's just be clear about that. Let's also look and evaluate the body of work to this point. And, there's a lot of different metrics that evaluate your offense, rightfully so. But you look at them and you recognize, this has been over the course of the first 15 games, rather, a top 10 offense. And you say, well, you scored 10 runs, that's an outlier. You score 2, that can be an outlier. We scored 2 multiple times and came up on the short side of it and recognized that during those games that we got to capture some of the moments. So all those are positives. The other thing I'll say, without ever making an excuse, because that's not really a part of our gig, but also being realistic is, hitting's the hardest thing to do in the world.
Yep.
And it's more of a challenge now. I love our approach, love what we're doing, but the fact of the matter is, I've done this job before and studied our game, and I can tell you that rightfully so, I understand the emotion tied to it. The hunger to compete every day to win as a team, and of course our fan base. But I got to tell you, there's probably 29 other markets that managers have somewhere calls. And just because the nature of the hitting relative to the pitching, the stuff that's coming out now, the awareness of how to the attack plans, the clarity of positioning, all those things lead to it being more of a challenge to hit now than the specialization of how guys are used in pitching. It's just more of a challenge to be consistent, to have those 4 to 5 runs every night. And but I do feel like we're going in a right direction. I think we've proven that.
Talking to the skipper, Mike Shildt, here on Ben and Woods this morning. And, yeah, it pains me, honestly, when Ha-Seong Kim makes an error, because I know how good he is. And I know that you moved him to short because he is a better defender. He is the best option, in my opinion, at shortstop that we have. And I know you feel the same way. For a player like him who literally cares so much, and he always gives every bit of himself, almost too much. I mean, sometimes I'm like, hey, you got to dial it back. We got a long season. He doesn't have a dial back mode. How hard has he taken his defensive performances lately? And what do you say to a guy like that that's going through one of those scuffles where, let's be honest, he's probably happy when the ball gets hit to third or second for a minute, until he can get back on his feet?
Yeah, I think he probably still wants the ball. Again, looking at it from a big picture, if you look at it from the first 14 games, he's still a top-rated shortstop relative to any metric you want to see. That being said, he'd be the first to, like you say, takes it hard. He cares a ton. And he wants to do well for a lot of reasons. And so he had made a few plays, and the last ball that got to him and the other day was, it came off like just different. Not only in the velocity of the way it came off, but just the kind of the hop it took. So it's hard for him to be in rhythm. But he'll be the first to tell you got to make that play. And so, what do you say to him? Keep going. You doing all right? Yep, doing fine. Believe in you 100%. And 9th inning, 2 outs, bases loaded, 1-run game. I want the ball hit to you.
Yeah. So,
and he'll, and we do. So he'll be just fine. And but he does care a tremendous amount, and just don't want to make anything bigger than what it is.
We've seen some pregame throws across the diamond from Manny Machado this week as he works toward returning to third base. I think even more importantly, we've seen a lot of swings that look very Manny Machado-like. Have you noticed a difference, Mike, in Manny the last a week or so?
I have, yeah. I think he's getting back to being in a good place. I mentioned this somewhat recently. If you think about Manny, first of all, the good indicator is, he's driving the ball all over the field, driving the ball in the right center. He's done that a fair amount this year, but, did it again the other day. Getting on the high fastball, which means he feels good to be able to get to it in the appropriate manner and be freed up to do so. So those are all good signs. He's on the mend, physically and in a couple of different ways with his swing, and not only, and of course, his elbow. He is throwing across the bases. He's starting to, feel even better about that. He's starting to get good carry that we expect out of Manny, and he's starting to feel good and recover well, which is equally important, so he can take the next steps. But you think about it, this guy's playing in Major League Baseball games as clearly our DH and hitting, but very few times are you playing and during the same period of time you're still rehabbing. So he's in two different worlds, right? He's playing Major League Baseball and he's still in a rehabilitation process. And that's fairly unique, and he's handling it well, and he's getting on the other side of it.
And how much, because we hear it all the time from ex-players, in fact, players that have played with Manny, how much does that do for, because I'll see fans from time to time, and I try not to get in the weeds with it, but, you see fans, well, he's actually hurting the team. If he's not swinging it well and he can't play defense, he's hurting the team. But the fact that he goes, gets treatment, tries to take care to make sure that he's on the field, how much does that go for the other players? The guy, he makes a lot of money, right? And he takes pride in wanting to win. How far does that go with the other players, seeing Manny go out there and try to grind through injury?
Yeah, listen, if he was like injured and he couldn't perform and he he would be the first to say, I'm not going to I'm not going to attempt to compete, nor would we put him in that position. So, his teammates always appreciate the fact this guy posts, because he's a guy that over his career has done just that. He's not a guy that looks to take any days off. He doesn't have a history of ILs. Unfortunately, he had a first real medical issue he's had in his career. And I can tell you with confidence he's played through some different things. That's what players do. They figure out a way to get through it and perform, which he's done his whole career. So, it's important that he continues to do that. It shows his teammates that he clearly cares, but he's not out there, with the limitations that doesn't allow him to perform. And, he's helped his team. So, he's got some RBIs that, he's hit some homers that have been big for us. So he's helping. And he also is a guy you got a game plan in the lineup. So, his presence in the middle of the lineup, he's still Manny Machado, and he's, dangerous with the bat, and he's proven it multiple times this year. So, he's helped us in a lot of regards.
Dodgers tonight, this weekend, and he split with them in Korea. You know what? From my perspective, I feel like I've seen times with this particular, the Padres, where the Dodger series has meant a little too much. Like, let's really focus and get up for it. And then I've seen the other way. Let's pretend that they're just exactly the same as every other team. These games are important, though. There's the team that you want to chase down always in this division. How do you approach kind of a regular season, normal weekend series, but it is against the Dodgers and it is up there at Dodger Stadium?
We can't ignore the fact it's a rival. There's competition. We're right down the road. We can't ignore that. We won't even try to ignore it. We'll actually embrace it. But personally, and we just play baseball, man. We're going to play regardless of who shows up on the schedule, and we're going to prepare to win the game regardless of who's on the schedule. We're going to compete again regardless of who the opponent is, and we're going to respect our opponent, and we're not going to make it any bigger than it is. Was it going to have a little more different energy playing in LA, in that stadium, and clearly we know and respect what they've been able to accomplish, but I think it's a real trap to make it anything bigger than it is, and it's really about how we compete. And if you look up at the end of the night, and we get after it for the whole entire game, and we have good offensive at bats and handle our situations and execute and play clean defensively and throw strikes and make our pitches. At the end of the day, we'll feel pretty good about being able to shake hands, and that's what our goal is every game against any opponent.
They do provide a unique challenge. Like I think your team does as well, because, veteran pitchers will find guys in the lineup that they feel like I can get out. Tough to do, especially with the top of that Dodgers order with how good their players are. Just like it's tough to, face Tatis and Machado and now Jake's hitting so well in order. How do you kind of approach that when they do have such a dangerous, top 5, 6 in their order?
Yeah, well, that's the part that is a challenge, right? They've got really good players, and they're off to a really good start, and they're very established and know what they do. They've got cohesiveness to how they operate. They communicate well during the game. They see the game well. They make adjustments. You got to be on your game every night in the big leagues, but you really need to be able to, when you get challenged with other teams that execute, that have a real strong identity of who they are and are going to compete and have the talent, then you got to be on your game. And so we expect that every night. So, it's about execution, and is it more of a challenge just honestly to execute against a high caliber club? Yeah, because they're trying to. But that's what we'll look to do, and that's what we expect to do.
Talking to the skipper, Mike Shildt. Last one for me, Skip. I want to talk, if you can, it's a little dicey maybe, about intent. When you're managing and you see one of your superstars, Fernando Tatis, he ended up on his butt a couple times late in the game on Wednesday. Any intent thought there? I know Padres fans were a little bit up in arms about Toddy continuing to get it kind of up and in, and boy, he made him pay the other night. When they went inside on him, and then he hung that slider and he hit it out of the yard. But a couple days later, or the next day, gets kind of brushed back a little bit. Your thoughts on the intent there?
Yeah, I think I don't know what they show during the games. I don't go back and watch the games. They don't need to show me ever, but I've said my piece. I'm not going to run the field and start, throwing blows yet, but I think I've made it pretty clear in some circles, that we're not going to tolerate that. So we'll always defend our guy. But there's different ways that gets done. But there's been some dialogue that allows people to know we don't appreciate it.
Interesting. Well, have a good trip. Let's see you back here next Friday. We'll talk to you next Friday. Back in town next week, and good luck against the Dodgers and the Brewers coming up.
All right. Thank you very much. You have a good week.
Thank you, too.
Mike Shildt, manager of the San Diego Padres. Our manager's report brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It is better. Let's
fired up.
Let's react to some of that when we come back. Just heard from the skipper. I love these weekly conversations. Always gives us something to ponder and to chew on a little bit. So we will discuss when we return. Quick check of traffic. Then more Ben and Woods coming up here on 97.3 The Fan. Reacting to our manager's report, weekly conversation with Mike Shildt. And let's start at the end there. The question that you asked, and you got a pretty good answer out of Mike Shildt. Was there a little intent there when Fernando Tatis Jr. took some inside pitches? Final at-bat of the series. Cubs were frustrated. Going to lose 2 out of 3, getting bodied on Wednesday. And Tatis got dusted a couple of times.
Yeah, I think I mean, I don't know what they showed during the games. I don't go back and watch the games. They don't need to show me ever. But I've said my piece. I'm not going to run the field and start, throwing blows yet. But I think I made it pretty clear in some circles, that we're not going to tolerate that. So we'll always defend our guy. But there's different ways that gets done. But there's been some dialogue that allows people to know we don't appreciate it.
Yes. Mike Shildt's not just a live and let live kind of guy like I am. He's not that way. So
it's funny, man. Intent is something that it's hard to know, and you think
and every player will get some inside pitches. They'll get hit by the pitches.
Yeah, and you think
and they're not all messages. They're not all supposed to be there.
You think right? It could be young pitcher trying to find his way that throws really hard, doesn't know where it's going. It just seems to happen a lot here, and it has over the last few years. And I think it goes along anytime a teammate has your back, that means a lot to you. I mean, like what Rowdy Tellez did for David Bednar the other day. He was defending him and saying, "My man's going to get it figured out. We've got his back in here." You can't win without feeling like your teammates have your back. And I've seen a better camaraderie, I think, in the short time this season than I did last year. It does feel a little bit different, certainly, but it remains to be seen. I thought what a good opportunity for Enyel De Los Santos to come out and let somebody else know we've got it too. Like Mudd always says, we've got that pitch too. And again, not calling for anybody to be hit or anything like that. Just saying, hey, we can also bust you inside, move your feet, knock you on your ass as well.
Would you agree that Fernando Tatis Jr. seems to get more of those pitches than other guys?
100%. There's part of it is that part of it is where he stands and how he kind of dives in over the plate. And there's certain guys that's their whole game. Like they're going to stand on top of the plate and they're going to lead in there. Max Muncy's really good at getting hit by pitches. I don't know that he ever feels like anybody actually throws at him. I feel like he's up there. Like if I can wear one here and get on base, that's a good thing.
Tatis is not trying to get hit.
He is not that guy. Tatis is not the guy that's like, please hit me. But
so you think it's more of a function of his style of game, how he's
I think
he's in the batter's box.
He's also
a factor.
It's
a factor.
It's not a response necessarily to his flamboyance and swag as much.
Little bit of everything, potentially. Little bit of everything. Again, I know
Jake gets hit more than anybody.
He does,
but it doesn't feel like they're throwing at Jake when he gets hit.
Yeah, really at all. They never. It doesn't feel like that ever. Like, oh man, you really went after Crony there. No, but it feels when it is your superstar. By the way,
the only reason I ask that is sometimes when we feel it's also our perceptions that are clouded because it's Fernando Tatis Jr. We feel like there's more intent, maybe
a little bit of both,
than there is, and I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, I mean, but it just seems, and I don't think it's recency bias. I mean, we've had this conversation a couple dozen times in our time together. Like, man, another series, Tatis, ends up on his ass a few times. Not my favorite thing to see. Don't like to see really any player, but any superstar, especially like Fernando Tatis wears one in the hands or something. We're torpedo, man. We're torpedo. Honestly, like that's just throwing inside is one thing. Throwing up and in, which is what happens to him a lot. That's what cannot happen.
Some comments about the Dodgers series, and it's just baseball. We're just playing baseball, but also acknowledging their rivals and they're close. And this is more than just a series against the Reds or a series against the Marlins. It's the Dodgers, so you can't ignore the fact that it means a little bit more, not just to the fans, but to everybody when you play the Dodgers. And I think he's trying to strike that balance of, Yeah, but we still just have to go out and play baseball against that team. They're not superhuman people. They're good baseball players, but there's nothing mystical or magical that makes the Dodgers win.
No, there's not. I mean, they have good players.
That's it.
They're really, really good players, and they really are. They've dominated you in the regular season. They absolutely have dominated you, and you have the upper hand in the last postseason meeting against that team. Dodgers are motivated to win that. They don't. You never want somebody to rise up to your level, and so I think they'll be motivated to win these games. But I feel like they're motivated to win every game they play, just like we should be. And I'm excited. I mean, it's more for the fans. It really is. Like, let's be honest. It's more for the fans. We hate them. We hate the Dodgers more than any Padre player hates the Dodgers or their fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more important to us.
Yeah, because
they're getting paid regardless.
Yeah, because I think
Twitter exists. That's why.
Yeah, well, that's part of it for sure.
And you wear it and all that. So.
Yeah, and if Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani were constantly on Twitter chirping at the Padres all day,
right?
Padres players probably would be a little more, emotional about the series. But we're emotional because the Dodgers fans, are doing that all the time.
Sure.
And we're doing it back,
yeah.
and so that makes this bigger for us.
They're an easy fan base to rile up. They really are. They're very, very, for all that money, all those star players, they're pretty easy to rile.
And it sounded like he agreed. Manny Machado is definitely turning a corner and making good strides. No official date on when he's going to be back at third base, but he's throwing, feeling good, and clearly the swing and where the ball is going and how it's coming off the bat has been a little bit different. I know Manny had a couple of home runs early and he crushed them, monster shots. But when he said, the top of that zone pitch, that was one that
he was getting
was frustrating him. Yeah. And now that he's kind of feeling more comfortable on that one, does make Manny a more complete hitter and a more dangerous player in the Padres lineup.
Manny, Xander, Tatis, they have big series against the Dodgers. We have a good shot. They don't. We don't. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, those guys need to hit. They need to do star stuff, and they're stars, and they need to act like it this weekend and every weekend. We need them to come through. Those are the guys we should be focusing our attention on. Tyler Wade goes over, so what? That's Tyler Wade in the 9-hole. Who cares? He's not supposed to do anything. Your stars got to be stars, and that's what's been working for LA. It's what's been working in New York. Right now, their stars are playing like stars. And, who cares what the third, fourth outfielder does? Oh, Sugar, didn't get a knock there. Well, okay. I mean, what did Xander do? What did Manny do? What did Tatis do? Crony, for that matter, right now is playing like a superstar. So that's who we need to come through this weekend and every weekend.
Take our final time out here. We can look at all the matchups for the series coming forward. I don't know. Maybe spin the topic, Will. It's been a while.
It has been ages.
You want to finish on a Friday with something a little light and fun before we lead into Annie and Elston. Coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Bit of a developing story here at the Masters, Woods.
Great.
In fact, it involves your distant relation, Tiger Woods. 3 bogeys on the front 9. Ooh. 2 birdies. He's at 2 over. He's right on the cut line. The cut line is currently projected at 2 over. He has made the cut 23 straight times at the Masters. If he makes it one more time, he will set an all-time record for most consecutive cuts. But he's going to have to play his last 11 holes in no worse than probably even par. Maybe get red numbers, a birdie or two somewhere on the back 9 if he's going to keep that run going and continue into the weekend at Augusta National.
How many straight?
23 straight cuts made at Augusta, tied with Fred Couples and Gary Player for the most all time.
Who's leading?
It's still Max Homa and Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson through 2 holes even. Max Homa is 2 under through 7. Both are at 7 under for the tournament. Scotty Scheffler at 6 under has yet to tee off. He is 1 stroke back in the second round at the Masters.
Okay. Well, I got a important update from the missus earlier.
Oh, I can't wait. All right, we'll get to that right after the check of traffic. On
Hooter Research.
Yes, on 97.3 The Fan. All right, if you were listening in our open, in our foreplay segment, you can go check it out.
Good debate.
Woods brought up the question of whether it was okay to take his young children for wings at his favorite wing restaurant. And really, that would be an obvious answer to everyone if your favorite wing restaurant was like B-Dubs.
Yeah.
Or Wingstop, or Epic Wings and Things, or just your local sports bar. But your favorite wing restaurant is?
Hooters, obviously.
Hooters.
Love Hooters.
And Hannah was not a big fan of you taking her kids.
Our kids. Our children.
My
kids. Sons.
Both of your kids.
My beautiful son.
Hers as well.
Yes. To
Hooters. But not because she felt like they were going to be corrupted. You all have already corrupted them plenty.
They're fairly... Actually, no. Bo's like scared of everything, which is great. It's exactly what you want. I want him terrified of jail and prison and everything. That's
You don't go to jail for going to Hooters.
No, you don't. It's far from it. But she was like, I don't want you guys. And I'm like, Bo really wants wings. So I just want to make him happy. I'm going to take him to where I like my wings. And I think he would like them too. They're not super messy. I don't get the big breaded ones. And I really like the way that they taste. Has nothing to do with the Hooters girls. Okay? I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? Right? So she texted me. She goes, fine. Hooters is fine. Ginny has allowed it. Her friend Ginny Flannery, Flan's daughter, says, oh, no, we've done
Is it possible Flan had some influence here?
Potentially. So I've gotten the go-ahead now. I think I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, if anyone wants to stop by and see Woods tonight, making his appearance
tomorrow
at Hooters.
The pictures of the 3 of us at Hooters will be elite. It will just be elite content, and I think they'll really enjoy their time.
I think so too.
How could you not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Here are the matchups for this weekend's series in Los Angeles, starting tonight. Michael King on the mound, 2-0 with 3.14 ERA. Good start to the season for Michael King, going up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's been very good outside of one inning against the San Diego Padres in Korea. He's 1-1 with a 4.09 ERA. Tomorrow, Matt Waldron will take the mound, and he is coming off an excellent second start of the season in his last outing. 0-1, 3.86 ERA. He's facing Gavin Stone. He struggled a bit. He's 0-1 with a 7.88 ERA for the Dodgers to start the year. And then Sunday, that's a 6:05, I believe, start tomorrow, 6:10, one of those two. And then Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Yu Darvish back making his 5th start already this season.
Wow.
No one's made that many starts for sure. He is 0-1 with a 3.86 ERA, but scuffled his last time out against the Cubs as they get the 4 quick runs off of him in the game the Padres rallied to win. He'll be going up against James Paxton, who is off to a very good start. He's 2-0 with a 1.64 ERA,
of course,
for the Dodgers. So there's your pitching matchups for the series in Los Angeles this weekend.
All right. Not going to Coachella today, I take it.
Was not planning on going to Coachella.
You still
today.
could, I think, if you wanted
Good
to.
time.
We could make it our way out to India, which, again, in a different life, I would have been, as soon as we were done here, I would have been heading out to Coachella tonight because Deftones playing and Lana Del Rey and a bunch of other acts.
Where did you stay when you went to Coachella?
So,
like in an RV, or did you like stay at a hotel?
No, so we rented a house. The station rented a house in Coachella Valley, which was awesome, but it was far as balls. Like, we rode bikes one year. That was a mistake. Then you had to lock them, find them after the show.
Oh, God,
then you had
awful.
to ride them back, fairly inebriated and under the influence, and you had to ride them back. It was a nightmare. We took a rickshaw one year. They had people with rickshaws, and that was a trip. You had to walk miles and miles and miles. It was tough. And then we stayed.
Yeah, it's just on a in a field in Coachella, which is Indio, California, which is the eastern side of the Coachella Valley, where La Quinta.
Right.
Like I go there for golf courses, Palm Desert, La Quinta, very nice.
Not a lot of golfers out there
Palm
this
Springs,
weekend.
but not at Coachella.
No.
Different sort of crowd.
Different crowd. One that I think you would very much enjoy. I think you would really have a good time.
And then the last few years, they don't have any actual performers, just holograms and DJs. Correct?
Just mostly DJs.
Right.
Yeah, mostly.
But no one actually plays any music.
They
or
do now.
They
They're
do
getting,
play some music.
They're getting
Okay.
back, having some actual guitars. I think they had 3 guitars there all of last year, if my memory serves. But it's not for us 48-year-olds.
What's the food scene like at Coachella?
Amazing.
Really?
Absolutely amazing.
Is it like temporary stands,
Yeah,
like the
they have
fair that are
stands like
set
the
up?
fair.
Or, okay.
They have koji burritos. You ever had a koji burrito?
I don't think so. It's like Korean. Sounds Korean.
It's Korean. They're only in L.A. They have Korean the Korean burrito trucks that go around.
Don't dodge your love right now.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just saying the koji burritos are. They're
They fill
to
it
die
with
for.
Korean barbecue
spare
meats
ribs
and then
oh my god, you've never had anything like
spare ribs in a burrito.
Bro, you would die.
Seems like the bone might be a problem.
They
But
take just the meat. Yeah,
boneless spare ribs. Okay,
ungodly. They're and you go and you rage for a few days and you eat one meal in 3 days, and that was what I would always wait, and I would get it on.
And then
Sunday.
what about the alcohol scene?
What about it?
You bring your own?
No.
They sell it. You can't
Sell
bring
it.
your own.
Yeah, you can't bring your own.
No BYOL.
It's wild. It's a wild scene. One that I'm just not accustomed or
And what's the
acclimated
time?
to.
Like, is it all day?
It's all day.
What time does
Yeah.
it start? Like in the morning
It's
or in
all
the afternoon?
all day, like noon
Until like
4 a.m.
Really? That
Yes.
late?
Dude, we went one year. It was all my favorite bands played on a Friday night. We drove in from here, got there, and it was band, band,
headliners
band,
take the
band.
stage at what, like 11,
Yeah.
11:30?
And we were there till like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was like I was exhausted, but it was one of the most.
And then
fun.
you have to come back, and if you're going
Do it again.
all 3 days, you have to do it again the next
I've
day.
never made it. I went to like 8 of them. I never
Friday,
made,
Saturday, Sunday.
I never made it to Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
All 3.
Never once did I go.
Even
all
when
3
you were
days.
working.
No, we would work out of our home, and I was like, I'm not going tonight.
You're not even going.
No, I'll stay at home. I would never made it to all 3
So
days.
you're there to cover Coachella, and you didn't actually go to Coachella.
Does that surprise anyone? I raged so hard on Friday that I'd be like, I'm not going.
I mean, we did go to spring training last year and
Yep.
did a whole show just from our Airbnb.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't our fault. They didn't have room for us that day, but that's like covering spring training without actually going to spring training.
Right. And so I would just say I'm not doing it.
Still, some point we need to make the trip happen for Coachella. Ben towering over.
I want
every
him
single
covering
person.
Coachella. That's
Yes.
Is there only short people allowed at Coachella?
No, but you're really
You're tall. You're taller than most people.
You would.
And you with your floppy bucket hat.
Him
just-
walking around and trying to walk the 17 miles in flip flops would be comedy. People do it. I've seen them do it, but you really need. It sucks because you get old and you're like, cool. I'm going to wear my dad's sneakers out here at Coachella.
like, Ben covering Coachella would be the most incredible content.
Best
So
content
are you
ever.
here for Doja Cat?
Yeah, are you here for Dead Meow 5? Right.
It's Dead
Mouse.
Mouse.
Right. But it just
I know, but it
you
looks like a
covering it would
Ice
be
Spice. I like Spice.
I like Spice. Would be so good. So good. All right, that's it.
No, it's not.
That's all I got.
He's done.
I'm done.
Let's spin the topic wheel once, and then we'll play some things that Ben likes. I mean, it's the desert. Flip-flops are fine.
Yeah, when you have to walk 17 miles.
Oh boy, this is going to make people upset.
Oh, great.
What is your most unpopular food opinion?
Avocados suck.
Ooh.
Said it many times.
It's the Fallbrook Avocado Festival this weekend. If
Enjoy.
I was going to go somewhere,
More for you.
Less Coachella, more Avocado Festival for me.
I like guacamole. I do not like avocados, and they don't need to be put on everything.
Some things.
Nothing.
Not everything.
Not for me. I'm good.
I like avocados in just about every form.
Yeah.
Sliced on a sandwich,
I know. I get
mashed
dragged
into
for this.
guacamole. They're good. They're good.
Tastes like snot.
That
to
is an
me.
unpopular opinion.
It is.
For
And
sure.
and I get it. More for you guys. More for you
Pauly?
guys.
I don't like barbecue.
What?
Like the traditional,
That's-
like brisket.
Really?
Stuff
What?
like that.
No,
It's-
that is a broad brush.
It's
you
a broad
just
brush.
painted
Yes.
with. Like ribs. Good, yummy pork ribs.
Like I don't like
Baby
going
backs.
out for barbecue.
Really?
Yeah. And maybe it's a place. It's circumstantial. Like I know there are places around here that are good, but it's not. We're not a barbecue city like
No.
St. Louis,
We're not.
Kansas City, etc.
So if you lived in like
I'm
Kansas,
sure
if
I
you
would.
lived, well, if you, I was gonna say if you lived in Kansas City, would you be like, oh, we get it, barbecue? Like you'd be over it, or
I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't. It's not. Again, it's not my favorite, but it's because I think haven't had the best stuff out here. Maybe,
yeah,
but I don't know. Like
Grand Ole's pretty amazing, dude.
I'd rather just like go out and grab a steak
Yeah, it's different.
instead of burnt ends and brisket.
Oh, burnt ends. Oh my god, I love burnt ends.
All right, this is a very minor but unpopular food opinion, I believe, but Triscuits are better than Wheat Thins.
You're out of your mind. Literally,
I knew you would say that.
Triscuits are the most hideous.
No, you
God.
need to give.
You ever get one caught in your? I guess
You
Wheat
need-
Thins too.
You need to give Triscuits another try.
No chance.
When I was younger, I agreed
flavored
with
ones.
you.
The flavored ones aren't bad.
No, I like the plain ones.
The ones that taste like shredded wheat.
Yes, I love those.
Absolutely
just a little salt.
repugnant.
Just a little salt.
What do you put on there? Cheese or
Hummus.
something? Hummus. See, I don't even need. I think a good cracker, you don't
Wheat
need
Thins-
anything on it.
Wheat Thins become cloying, and
What does that mean,
A cracker
cloying?
doesn't need anything on it. You just eat crackers.
I do.
Just crackers.
I eat sleeves
Crackers
of saltines.
have to have things.
No,
on
I
them.
eat sleeves of saltines.
Chips you can eat without the dip occasionally, but a cracker is just a vehicle for what you put on it. You don't eat crackers.
I do. Sleeves.
Wheat Thins.
I eat Ritz by the sleeve, dude. It's my favorite snack. Ask my wife right now what's in our pantry. Big old thing of saltines. I just crush a sleeve of them. I love them.
Saltines are so boring. They're just designed to
yummy.
eat something else with them.
Man, you must be. Triscuits are better than wheat. You can like Triscuits.
I like Wheat Thins.
Cute.
But Triscuits are better.
They're not.
They're just more grown up.
Thick and weedy.
They're more grown up
than Wheat
snack
Thins?
than Wheat Thins, yeah.
Jay, remember our old producer? Hey, you and Mikey look like you're on the new diet with Wheat Thicks. I was like, all right, bro. Wheat Thicks.
I knew
laid
it would
me
be.
out.
I knew it would be. You said unpopular food
yeah,
opinion.
people
so
in the chat losing their mind.
It's unpopular.
I gave it
and I'm
to
like,
you.
it's
There
not like
it
we're out
is.
here. Unpopular food opinion. I'm not a big fan of liver and onions.
Yeah,
Supposed to piss people off.
You're right. You're right.
We got Raising Cane's overrated. We got some other unpopular food opinions in there.
That's good. When you guys went to Raising Cane's when I was sick in the back seat of the car on the way home from spring training, and then you guys got in and you smelled like Raising Cane's, I'll never be able to eat it again.
Triscuits are the old people hard
It
candies
is.
of crackers.
It is. They're for old men.
When your grandmother offers you a Triscuit, that's all you've got, Grandma? No.
Wheat Thins rule.
Triscuits are good.
Poke sucks. I'm with him.
I'm not a fan either.
Poke's delicious.
I'm over it.
With avocado.
I've had some bad pokey.
Pokey.
I've had some bad pokey, and it did not do well.
All right, let's finish
Like
with
it
some
up.
likes and end the week here. I like a lot of things. I like Chick-fil-A sauce. I just like rankings. I like Steve Winwood. I like Pie Gal Poker. I like to be informed on subjects. I like Chicago. I like Tom Petty. I like the idea of another left-handed bat in the lineup for sure. I do like a good Matt Damon film. I like being on the same page. I like broccoli. I like Brussels sprouts. I like a lot of things. I like this shirt. I like Wipeout. I liked my omelet. I like San Diego State at home. I like when a baseball player can be more than just a baseball player. I like vanilla. I like the atmosphere. I like the felt on a poker table, just kind of how it feels under your fingers when you're there. I like rhubarb pie. I like the window seat. Changing the subject. I like that. I like just the standard yellow peep. I like how San Diego State's playing right now. I like finer things. I like calling a game. I like fiction more than nonfiction, just like the cream. I actually like playing golf with other people. I've liked everything I've seen so far from Mike Shildt. I like Mexican food. I like just the solar system. I do like steak. I like specifics. I like going to 7 Mile Casino during the day. I like that people are there having a good time. I like my new eating schedule. I liked what I was eating. Yeah, I like the variety of the menu at Sammy's. I do like a good midnight buffet.
You're amazing.
We lost it. What happened? I like when the story has an arc.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Did we cut some?
Was that in the old one?
That might have been the old one. Yeah. Well, we'll have to play them all someday. Just
we will.
Front to back.
The day you go on vacation, we absolutely will.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming soon, actually.
A big bone of contention
less than 2 weeks
here.
away.
Yeah.
A little Ben vacation finally in 2024. We've been waiting for it.
You deserve it.
Finally going to happen, but not yet. We'll be back next week. Full week, all 3 of us, all 5 days, correct?
Yep.
All 5 of us, all 3 days.
That would be a shorter week.
I would sign up for that as well.
We'd have a bigger ensemble on the show. Well, if you count the 3 of us and then Annie and Elston, that's 5. But they've got Braden, too, so it's really 6 coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan. For executive producer Paul Reinhold and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great weekend from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.